Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal, depending on who you ask. Good to see you folks all. You know, I didn't do a show yesterday, but that doesn't mean news did not continue to happen. And today is exactly that. Couple of things I want to talk to you about right off the bat. You see the sign behind talking about danger, big government. President Trump was in the news and he made a statement that kind of justifies what you see on the screen behind me. This is we come with videos as always, but this is one coming from our commander in chief himself. Not as much outrage on this as you would think, but listen, in the age of Trump, news moves so fast that what happens today is almost irrelevant tomorrow.
This morning, President Trump is calling on Republicans to nationalize elections as he continues to push baseless claims of voter fraud.
The Republicans should say, we want to take over. We should take over the voting in at least 15 places. The Republicans ought to nationalize the voting.
Under the Constitution, the power to run elections is reserved for the states, not the federal government.
Once again, the president's talking no.
I'm not going to play Chuck Schumer, but I want to discuss President Trump stating we should nationalize the election in at least 15 places. Most likely, I think it's safe to assume the 15 places he's indicating are all Democrat strongholds. Likely, he believes in those 15 places. He won the election in 2020 and was not awarded the victory. So you hear him there state that we should nationalize the election and the Republicans should be in control of said election. So I'm going to ask you folks right off the bat, because listen, we've been running elections the same way in this country since the founding fathers created this great nation. Do you believe perhaps maybe the Trump administration has a better, more efficient way of running elections than, say, what was created by the founding fathers? We'll talk about that. Do you believe that the elections would be more free and fair, safer, less biased if the Trump administration were running them? Because he is saying that we should nationalize the elections and the Republicans should be in control. Now, 15 different places, he said, we don't know if that's where it's going to go, if it's going to spread out. Thomas Miller in the comments said it would be definitely safer if President Trump ran the election. So, let me ask you folks in the comments. I can't imagine I can't imagine ever having asked this, but because the president actually said it. By way of yes or no in the comments, how many of you folks believe the elections would be safer and ran more efficiently and fair if President Trump and the Republicans took control of the elections? Let me know what you think in the comments, yes or no on that one. I never thought I would even have to ask something like that, but you hear the president saying that's what he thinks should be done. And let's face it, a lot of times what President Trump wants to do ultimately gets done, nationalizing the election. So considering how, I want to say, monumentous that is, something that would be, like I said, something we haven't seen since the country's been founded, for one party to take control of the election. I'm going to ask, why is this getting virtually no right-wing discussion? Fox News isn't talking about this at all. Having a president say we should take control of the election in at least 15 Democrat strongholds, you don't hear any folks on the right outraged by this at all. So I do want to ask you, why do you think that is? By the way, folks, tap the screen. I don't know what's going on with TikTok, but the numbers are flaky, so I'm going to ask you to tap the screen, share the live if you will. And I asked this already, but I didn't note it down. Do you trust Trump over the founding fathers in terms of running an election? And last but not least, with President Trump indicating this is something he wishes to do, are we still questioning whether he wants to alter the Constitution? Is the dictatorship comments still up for debate? I ask you folks that. Is that still, are we still just, I mean, he's talking about nationalizing the election and one party controlling it. Are we still suggesting that he has no intentions of altering the Constitution or try to do things that are dictator-like? So we'll look at it like that. Photo ID to vote, says Thomas Miller. You know something? Let me just say real quick before we go on to the next topic. Trump talks about this, and many on the right talk about how the Democrats are against photo ID to vote. Fact is, the polls show Democrats are overwhelmingly in favor of requiring a photo ID to vote. And they even break it down by race. Minorities, blacks, and Hispanics are even. I think blacks are the lowest group in terms of favoring a ID to vote. And I think it's like 70% of blacks. It's like 85% of Democrats favor requiring an ID to vote, like 95% of Republicans, so virtually all of them, virtually all Republicans. But the idea, African Americans, they're she fabulous says stop saying blacks. I don't know what to say. I'm an old dog. Give me time to learn new tricks. But fact is, the overwhelming majority of American voters favor requiring an ID to vote. That is a right-wing, inaccurate talking point that Democrats do not want to require IDs to vote. Now, you can find some Democrats that say, requiring an ID is going to be too expensive for the person they can't afford. Listen, I lean left, and I'm going to tell you flat out, there's absolutely no excuse for a full-grown adult to not have an ID. They're too fucking inexpensive. You got national elections only taking place every 2 years, and then, of course, the presidential election every 4 years. You can't afford an ID in that time period. If you can't afford an ID, a state ID or driver's license in that time period, voting is not your biggest issue. You should have an ID. So, yeah, the idea that Democrats are against voter ID is flat out false. That is a Republican talking point. And I would submit to you to just go around and ask Democrats if you don't believe it. Go ask the average Democrat if you have a problem with a voter ID and see what you're in. So that's absolutely not true. In the comments, though, Dark Side Rider says, Trump ain't shit. Says, I don't trust nothing from him. I don't trust him with a 10-foot pole. Wow. So listen, and look, I'm not even going to just target Trump. Me personally, I would question why any politician wants his side to take control of an election. But we'll talk about that. In addition to that, I also want to talk about, we're going to talk about something. Now, this came up a while ago, but I still believe it is worthy of discussion because of the economy and things we're going through.
I said, we have a couple of jobs. Vince is unbelievable on policy. And we have a policy thing that's going to be unbelievable happening. Should I announce it or should I keep it quiet? I put Vince in charge of the Triumphal Arc. We're building an arc like the Arc de Triomphe. And we're building it by the Arlington Bridge, the Arlington Cemetery, opposite the Lincoln Memorial. You could say Jefferson, Washington, everything, because they're all right there. And it's something that is so special. It will be like the one in Paris, but to be honest with you, it blows it away in every way. And Vince came in one day.
He's talking about a triumphal arc. Some of you may have heard about this, similar to what you see on my screen behind me if the computer brings it up. But this is the one I believe in France. You heard him say the one we built will blow it away. Now, this is a pretty big structure. I don't know if you can see it from my monitor behind me, but if I zoom in, there are people down at the bottom. So you see how big this thing is. There's a lot of people at the bottom of this. You can barely see them. So this thing is big. This is you hear him say that the one we build in DC is going to blow this one away. Triumphal Arc in DC. Now, the reason why, and I see Billy Buckeye Nation says let them build it. Yeah, let them build the ballroom and all that. The reason I'm asking this question is because in addition to this, we had lives on the military parade he had in DC. We've discussed him taking a jet from Qatar that needs to be brought up to U.S. safety standards for a president, and the cost of that. We've talked about the ballroom attached to the White House, and now we're talking about a triumphal arc. And this is in addition to other stuff. I'm asking the question, and I want to hear from you folks. Well, first of all, why do we need a triumphal arc? That's a question in itself. Why do this? What is the purpose of this? But in addition to that, I want to ask you folks, is it wrong to ask questions? I mean, is it unpatriotic to ask questions? One being, why not restore the actual economy of this country, of this great nation, before spending millions of dollars of taxpayer money on lavish products? Many might suggest that are unnecessary, like this triumphal arc rather. We're talking about the ballroom, remodeling a Qatar jet. Why not actually get the economy back up and running first? Is it wrong to ask that? Now, in the comments, Billy Buckeye says he's doing that in terrorism, but he hasn't done it yet, though. He has not. How about succeeding on getting Americans plural, out of hot water before buying this shit? You haven't done it. So the idea where he's doing it with the economy, he could be doing it 3-4 years from now, or 2-3 years from now. How about succeeding? The economy is not where he campaigned on, where Americans wanted to be. I don't think is anybody really happy with the current state of the economy? Do you feel right now the U.S. economy, after 4 years of Biden, is an economic success? You're happy with it right now. It doesn't need to improve at all. You're happy with it right now as we speak. Price of gas and everything. You're totally satisfied right now. Is there anybody feeling that way? So the point I'm asking is, why not get struggling Americans out of hot water before building all of these lavish products that ultimately cost tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars in U.S. tax dollars? I don't see why any of this stuff is necessary to build right now. If you're going to give us a stellar economy, then okay, a year, 2 years down into your presidency, build this shit. You can build it in 2027. Why now? Why now? So I do want to talk about that. And Billy Buckeye Nation, once again, you're saying things are turning around. Look, I'm not here to hand out participation trophies. He's working on it. Things are turning around. What does that mean? That's like going and applying for a job and admitting I'm a crackhead. Well, when I'm turning it around, I'm working on getting out of addiction. You're not there yet. So turning it around, that's some bullshit excuses. Anyway, and I see Thomas Miller said the Somalis are going to pay for it. Good luck with that. Last but not least, I do want to ask, in regards to him talking about nationalizing the election, this is obviously in regards to his belief that the 2020 election was stolen. Here's what I don't get, and I'm going to say this. This is really tailored to my beloved MAGA, because I want to get some MAGA on here to make this make sense. The idea is that the election was stolen from Trump in 2020. So Trump was president in 2020 when that election took place. So what he is saying is, under his watch, he blames Biden for it. Under President Trump's watch, Biden, as a citizen, was able to steal the election from him in 2020. He won the 2024 election. Now, Biden was president at that time. The same guy who stole the election from you under your watch allowed you to win under his. How does that make sense? If he could steal it from you under his watch, there's no way, or better yet, under your watch, there's no way in hell he would let you win under his. How does that actually make sense? Biden, as a citizen who could not string together a sentence, according to Trump, sleepy, didn't know where the hell he was able to orchestrate stealing the election from Trump under Trump's watch. But then when it was Biden as president, somehow, some way, the election was fair? Trump won fair and square in 2024? I don't get it, but I do want to ask, is there a such thing as 2020 election derangement syndrome? Why won't Trump let this go? Why won't he let the 2020 election go? There is not an entity in existence that is telling him he won other than himself. Now he has sent the FBI to Fulton County, Georgia, I suppose in hopes of, if no one's going to tell me I won, I'm going to send my FBI to do it for me. Do you trust what's going on in Fulton County at the hands of Tulsi Gabbard in the Trump administration? What is he doing? Is he trying to make our elections better or make our elections his? We'll talk about that. Last but not least, before we go ahead, crime is down. Crime is down all over America. Major cities, crime rates are coming down. It's time to give President Trump credit, perhaps, right? Fact is, he's president. Crime is coming down under his watch. If crime came down under the watch of Biden, will we not give Biden credit? Now, we can certainly have a discussion on whether or not he's doing anything personally to bring down crime. Fact is, it's happening under his watch. So under President Trump, we will be able to state that crime has come down significantly. That is an accolade of President Trump. Billy Buckeye Nation says he's forcing crime down. I believe that. I will tell you this, though. One faucet of crime that we don't keep track of, and that is how much crime is being committed by law enforcement. That's something we don't keep track of, but I'll bet you crime by law enforcement is up. It's up a lot. I believe crime by law enforcement is rising. It is indeed. This is something you guys don't care about. I'll start taking calls. Tap the screen. Get us up to 15,000 likes on TikTok. We'll certainly start taking calls at that point. This is something I'm going to say a lot of my audience doesn't give a shit about, but I do want to throw it in here just for shits and giggles. It is the month of February now. That officially makes it Black History Month. Now, we know Juneteenth, the holiday given by Biden in 2021 to mark emancipation, the end of slavery. President Trump on that day indicated we already have too many holidays and something needs to change, suggesting that Juneteenth needs to go away. He didn't address Martin Luther King Day at all. Now, we just had MLK Day last month, couple weeks ago or so. He didn't address it at all. So how do you think he's going to address Black History Month? Do you expect to hear anything from President Trump in regards to Black History Month? So we'll talk about that as well. So you guys know how the program is ran. Those are our topics for today. We are always MAGA friendly, been MAGA friendly since day one, always will be. We don't have moderators on this program because it is uncensored and it's all about free speech. So MAGA's welcome, liberals are welcome. We go left of Bernie Sanders with our comments to I'm having dinner with Q. That's how free speech works. So looking in the comments, we don't need to celebrate anything, says the Quality Leering Center. Were you saying that? The day of Trump's military parade? We don't need to celebrate. The day he announced we were going to have a military parade last summer, was that your response? We don't need to celebrate anything? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. I'll take the first call at 15,000. Looking in the comments, it's a nearly 40-year downward trend for crime. I've heard that, obviously, I'm pretty certain, based on what I was hearing, that crime was coming down before Trump became president. But 40 years? I haven't heard that. You telling me crime has been trending down for 40 years? No, I think there's been some trending upward periods in there. So 40 years? Columbus Day needs to go, says Dante Middleton. You want to get rid of Columbus Day. Some people are calling that Indigenous Peoples Day. So some folks are already not liking that. Military parade sponsored by Pallet. I don't know who sponsored the military parade, but fact is, there's no way. You just have to take Trump's word on that. If Trump says the money came from X, you just have to believe that. It ain't like we were provided with receipts. So you just got to kind of believe the military parade was covered by somebody else. He's 87, so just to let y'all know he ain't got long. He's not 87. There, whoever said that Trump is 80. He's not 87. Tap the screen, get us up to 15,000. We'll take the first caller there. Tell a lot about how much popularity MAGA base is now. Wait a minute. He says, tell a lot about how much popularity MAGA base is. MAGA base is now blue tsunami coming in 2026. Well, I'll tell you something. MAGA ain't went nowhere. So the MAGA base is still pretty strong. Now, the claim about a blue tsunami in November of this year, there's a lot of validity to that. There's a lot of Republicans that are even, I mean, listen, we could talk about Trump, but fact is, it's common for an incumbent president after his first 2 years to lose in the midterms. Obama took a shellacking, as you may remember. Trump took a hit in his first term, and so did George W. Bush. It's common. That's kind of what happens. Now, Trump is incredibly controversial, so it might happen a little bit stronger with President Trump, but it's not uncommon for the incumbent to lose in the midterms. And Trump is trying to apparently get ahead of that by taking control of the national election. I want to ask you folks, as I mentioned earlier in the program, why is that not receiving more Republican outcry? Republicans tend to be for small government. To have a president, not only a week after talking about you shouldn't have firearms near police, to now come out and say we should nationalize the elections and let Republicans be in control. Where's the Republican outcry from this stuff? This goes completely against Republican principles. So I do got to get Mag on here and see if I can figure out why the hell that's happening. Gangsta Grandma says, can you stop talking and babbling and start adding the guests? Well, tap the screen, get us up to 15,000. What do you think we're talking for? That's what we said. Tap the screen, get the likes up. God damn it. Try to tell me. I'm an Italian. I'm an Italian WAP, but with papers. Okay, doesn't matter what have you. Keep in mind, a lot of you folks, well, my parents came here legally. Why don't you? It was a lot easier to come here legally in the 40s and 50s, folks. You get off the fucking boat, sign here, you're in America. They didn't demand $20,000 from you and all kinds of paperwork and shit from your home. Folks, you need to realize that. I don't want to go too deep down the road of privilege, but to have older people comparing coming here now, saying just come here legally like my grandparents did and shit. You realize how easy it was for them to come here back then? They didn't demand all kinds of stringent paperwork from their home country. You just got off the fucking boat and you were here. So I think folks don't realize the privilege that their ancestors had in coming here compared to how difficult it is now. You don't just show up on a boat, sign a letter, and all of a sudden you're allowed in. I mean, remember, somebody mentioned Italians, for instance. Mob and mafia members, all kinds of folks. When you talk about rapists and murderers, a lot of the folks coming here were criminals in their home country. They just didn't do background checks like that now. They brought all kinds of crime with them and shit. So I don't know if people realize that or not, but there is a certain amount of privilege you may have if your ancestors came here 2 or 3 generations ago, because it ain't that easy like that now. And it's certainly significantly more costly. Going to the box, we'll start the program off with Evil Majin Boo. Good evening, Evil. Welcome to the program. So, nationalizing the election, what say you?
Man, Tim, man, it's been forever. I've been trying to get on here, man. It's like waiting on at the DMV. Fuck, man.
I can't control that.
1, 2, and 3. Come on up.
I can't control that unless I want to give each guest like 2 minutes. There's nothing I can do about that, man. I'm only one person.
Right. Yeah, I know. Okay, naturalizing the election.
Yes.
Trump needs to naturalize that ugly ass hair that he has, but on the other hand,
You know you're being disrespectful to the president, Evil.
I don't give a fuck.
Oh, come on now.
He can kiss my ass.
Why would you be disrespectful to the most powerful man in the world?
Because he's a dictator. He is a warlord. Okay? That whole thing that he went to, what is it called? Towards the, like of the Greenland and all that other type of stuff.
Yeah, you're talking about the
Trying-
summit over in Dhaka or Doka. I know what you're talking about. What are you indicating?
Yeah, yeah. That was just a meeting of the Legion of Doom. That's all it was. Like there was nothing special going on. And you also spoke to the guy that is of the Greenland. He said there was no deal that was actually going to be made. It was all just a waste of time.
You know, you raise a good point, because Trump did say we got a great deal from Greenland, and you notice it's been now what, a week and a half. You haven't heard what the hell is that? You haven't heard any of the parameters of the deal. What did we get? If it's such a great deal, what was America's benefit to? He ain't told anybody shit. He just said we made a deal, and you got nothing out of that.
It made us look weak, though. It made us look stupid and weak, and it made us look weak to the what is it called? It's the United of the Nations, though.
How did it make it? Wait. How did what Trump did make us look weak? I need you to elaborate on that.
When you're showing disrespectful to Canada and to NATO, when you don't want to try to make things right, and then you want to tell people, oh, I want to name Greenland Trumpland. Like,
I heard rumors of that. Did President Trump himself state that he wants to rename Greenland to Trumpland?
Yes, yeah. Look it up. I shit you not, though. Look it up.
Oh my God! Wow,
yeah, it's true.
Well, let me just start out by saying, because you mentioned Canada, I think he's trying to operate from a position of strength there, though, even Major. I don't think he's trying to make us look weak. He's trying to dominate these other nations and put himself at a position of strength.
I don't know, man. It's there. I would say honestly, there was nothing there that honestly showed, America has the strength, though, and it shows us being weak and.
Wait a minute. I don't get the weak comment. I mean, we've kicked Venezuela's ass. We've bombed everybody from Iran to Nigeria. I don't see how America's looking weak under Trump. I don't see that.
It looks weak when you want to try to bully the other nations, not coming together and trying to show, oh, hey, we can actually come together.
We look like bullies. Yeah, we look like bullies. I won't take that away from it, but I don't think we look weak. We do look like bullies, but that's Trump's method of operation. He's been very successful at bullying his way, even as a businessman. It's made him millions of dollars. I don't think that he's had much bad luck with that. I understand that, but I don't see how it makes us look weak. It makes us look like bullies.
Well, when you have a bully, all you do, you hit them in the nuts and you say, back off.
Yeah, but America is indeed the world's strongest, mightiest military, mightiest superpower. You're not going to hit America in the nuts and get us to back off. That's just going to make us stomp you. So I don't know about hitting America in the nuts. And thank you, James Harper.
But the thing is, though, you don't go to another country by demanding, taking their oil, taking their leader hostage, and then you're going to change the whole, it's a situation or the whole thing on the,
But who's going to stop us? I mean, listen, I don't want to sound conceited because I don't favor bullying on any level, but Who's going to stop him? I mean, he did it. He certainly did it to precision, got away with it, whether we're talking about Venezuela or we're talking about some of these other countries. Now, obviously, the Canadians, and I see in the comments, I can't think of the person's name, or Rue something, but Rue Gain or somebody's talking about he's Canadian and he's very proud of his prime minister for what he's doing. The Canadians did stand up to us, and so did NATO.
Same here. I am proud of how Canada was able to handle themselves. I just wish that we had a very more intelligent of a president that could act like him now.
But does that make you unpatriotic? If we are sitting across the table from another nation, Greenland, right, Denmark, Canada, you name it, and you're actually right, proud of their performance, rooting for them to get the best out of the deal against your own country, is that not unpatriotic?
I would say no. It means that you are coming to the table to, to sit down and have the meeting of the minds, and you're not going to the table, look, I'm a dictator. I don't give a hell what you think. This is my. No. You don't do that though. And then it makes us as a nation not looking like, like we are looking like we can take over to like everything. That's not how you run run.
Yeah, but as an American, I'm being told no matter what's going on, you are always, as an American, if you're going to be a patriot, supposed to root for your country. You should never be rooting for the other side to be successful. What say you?
Not rooting for the other country, but you want to root in a way that all nations can come together and have a leveled mind. And that is what Trump is not going to do. Now, I know that you have, what's his name on here? Choke mouth commerce. He's gonna be saying, Tim, no, Tim, no. We need to.
His name is straight. His name is.
Shut up.
His name is Straight Talk Commerce. I haven't heard one liberal yet pronounce it.
Choke mouth commerce. Choke mouth.
Oh my God! In the comments, Vic Torreson says you're not supposed to be blind with patriotism, that you can't face reality. I like that. But some do suggest if we're actually an adversarial nation to someone else, you should always root for America. So everybody doesn't agree with that. So
honestly, I would say yes. And to answer that question, Trump is walking into it blind as a bat and going into that thing thinking that he's gonna, disrespect everybody. You don't go in there, saying, well, Canada, if you're not on board, we can be an enemy, or
in defense of President Trump, how do you respond to folks who might say, look, we've been looking out for the security of Canada, as President Trump says, without us there would be no Canada. So does that give President Trump
a false statement? That is a false statement. Trump had no right of going up there and saying that.
Do you believe without being having America as an ally, as a major superpower, you believe the Canadians will still be okay?
I think the Canadians will be fine, but there will come a point where we will have to transact business with them, and we need to get a leader who can be of, logical thinking and not actually go in there half cocked and doing, stupid stuff though.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But I mean, the idea is that the Canadians don't have the military might to defend themselves. That's what folks are saying. They need us to exist.
Mm-hmm. It's hard to say with this, with the president though. It is hard to say, like, honestly, and going back to what you were saying about the whole of the Black Month of the Heritage, though, I would like them to make a holiday for the no,
You talking about Black History? You talking about Black History Month?
Yeah. I would like them to see them do a holiday for for the No King's holiday. Yeah, that's about it.
No, wait, no King's holiday? No King's holiday?
Yeah.
That ain't gonna ever happen. Well, keep in mind, before Trump, nobody was talking about no kings at all. So that's never gonna happen.
And the only reason why it is because we have a ruthless, evil, sick, twisted dictator in the office, though.
He hasn't dictator's a bit harsh right now. King evil?
No.
Dictator?
No. Trump is pure evil. Pure evil, walking on two legs.
I think you
ever see that movie like Halloween where where the doctor is saying, Michael, I've seen him on two legs. He's exactly.
All right, I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna go ahead and move it on. You're getting crazy. Evil on two legs, son. Wow. I don't know where to go with that. I don't know where to go with that. All right, evil. Appreciate. Well, maybe that. I think warmonger is something we could talk about. Evil on two legs. That's pretty strong. I appreciate you coming through, Evil Major. Thanks for coming through. Appreciate it. Call you next time.
Hey man. Hey. Just a fast second though. I want you to make MAGA Reacts look stupid once again, please, because he cannot answer not one damn question. So please make MAGA Reacts answer the damn question and make him look stupid. Thank you. Take care, man. Have a good day.
You too, Evil. By the way, folks, tap the screen. Now, our purpose here is to have open dialogue from all sides of the aisle. We don't black ban or censor anyone. We're not trying to make anybody look stupid. Damn it, I often sometimes look stupid myself if you read the comments. And yes, Dencal, we can see you on Instagram there. Handsome Conservative says, you say you want Republicans to come on your show, but you keep bringing up the same Democrats every episode. Make it make sense. Well, we bring up who comes on. Period. I don't give a shit if Trump called in. We bring up who comes on. Obviously, somebody, subscribers and supporters are going to be noticed more, just like you, Handsome Conservative, because you turn the whole screen colors, and that's going to certainly make your comments stand out. We'll read all of those, but for the most part, all the other comments are just white lettering on black background, and I got 5 devices with comments flying all over the place. But there is no desire to skip over conservatives or independents. We bring up what comes up. Now, I will say this. We do challenge President Trump. He is the current commander-in-chief. When Biden was president, we held up his photo. His photo was where Trump's is now. And we were very critical of Biden's economy and his border performance and things like that. And we had a lot more MAGA viewers. The liberals didn't like me. So now that Trump is president and we're often criticizing what he does, a lot of MAGA have left the show and more liberals have come on because MAGA does not like to hear Trump get criticized. That's just how it works. Nothing I can do about that, but we don't run from callers. I'll assure you that. Jermaine75 says 10-1 was the last time we invaded a superpower. Never. I mean, we didn't become a superpower until after World War II or, during World War II. And we have, never happened. And that's, listen, that would be like asking, when is the last time a bully attacked someone bigger and stronger than them? It doesn't happen. I mean, I look, I know it may sound bad for me to say that, but we do bully nations. That is absolutely what we do. I mean, like we're telling Iran that they can't have a nuclear weapon. So you don't think North Korea is just as dangerous as Iran is, but we don't fuck with them because they have it now, which in my opinion, greatly justifies Iran's push to get nuclear technology. Because the minute they get an atomic weapon, that's going to take America off their back. So it is definitely in their best interest to get a nuclear weapon. Just like it has done for North Korea. Once North Korea got a nuclear weapon, we've left them alone. They can do whatever the hell they want. So it's definitely in their best interest to get a nuclear weapon. Otherwise, they're going to be under the thumb of the United States indefinitely. Anyway, tap the screen, get us up to 40,000. Looking in the comments here real quick. Not even a country with a nuclear bomb. I don't get what you mean by it. If I had TikTok, I'd go up, but unfortunately, I'm anti. You shouldn't be anti-TikTok no more. Well, that depends on if you're left or right, because TikTok is now firmly in the hands of Trump supporters. Oracle, the CEO of TikTok now, it's a right-wing controlled app. You've been challenging Trump for the past 5 years. I've been challenging them all. I've been giving Trump credit for shit too for the last 5 years. I've been giving Biden credit for this and challenging him on that. This is what happens when you're in the middle. Everybody thinks you hate their guy. All right, going back to the box here real quick. Poor people cheering for billionaires is like vegans eating meat. Some validity to that. I'll go back to the box and we'll make it happen with James Harper. Good evening, James. Welcome to the program. Federalizing the national election. What say you?
Hell no.
Bro, I mean, the man suggests that there is widespread fraud in Democrat strongholds, so something needs to be done about it.
Okay, he's saying that, but he just lost a Republican-led district
Yeah.
on his own, and they just gerrymandered it. So where's the fraud? Is the fraud on their side? Because that's who keeps losing them.
I don't know where the fraud is. He doesn't explain that very well. And thank you, Travelman. Appreciate the TikTok cap. Thank you very much for the support. No, I don't know where the fraud is. But Trump suggests that Democrats are cheating in the elections, whether it's illegal immigrants voting, folks that are deceased that are voting, maybe felons are voting where they should not be allowed. I mean, he is suggesting that in Democrat strongholds, there's a lot of cheating.
Because his ego can't take the fact that he's not on the winning side. Whenever things don't go his way, it's some kind of act against him.
But what do you mean he's not on the winning side? He's winning at everything right now.
No, the thing that he feared about the midterms is coming true, especially with these deep Republican areas turning blue. He's afraid of this. That's why first it was, we need to gerrymander. Then it was, we need to get rid of illegals. Now it's, we need to nationalize all the voting centers so that we can control like whose votes count and whose don't.
Let me ask you that. With him stating that we need to control the voting process in at least 15 areas and the Republicans need to take control, how do you imagine the election if it goes the way Trump wants, where the Republicans are in control? How do you expect the turnout of that to be?
If they win, the first thing he's gonna do is he's gonna push harder for all the shit that he knows he's not supposed to be able to do. He's gonna push harder for that because he knows they're not gonna push it against him.
What about the Democrats? If Trump does use the Republicans, because he's already got Tulsi Gabbard down in Fulton County, Georgia, in the Atlanta area, they're already going in polling places and taking everybody's information, your social security number, who you voted for, where you live, your driver's license, everything. How would the Democrats respond if he does it on a national level? Because they're not really responding much with him doing it locally down there.
See, that's the thing. Like, I don't know what they'll do because it's going to take somebody. It's going to take people to actually have the balls to actually stand up to them.
So whatever happened to having Second Amendment rights prevents tyranny? I mean, isn't this somewhat pretty close to tyranny where you're talking about nationalizing the election and one side controlling it?
The thing about having that is you got to realize essentially you might be going against the military. And I'm sorry, a militia is, we've already seen that a militia is not going to beat the military. So we need to have more people within the military in order for that to work.
So in other words, we're fucked.
I don't know if we're at that point yet, but it's leaning towards that way.
Let me ask it to you this way. If Trump tried to use the military on its own people in full-blown tyranny, do you feel confident that those who are enlisted in the military would carry out those orders against their own people?
I would hope not from personal experience, but like I said, I can't 100% say, oh, the military as a whole is going to do it. Like there's going to be those that's going to blindly say, oh yeah, he said that, so we should do it. But those will be the ones that, like, when push comes to shove, they won't be able to hide behind the fact, well, I was following orders.
So what, because that was a common statement from the end of Germany after World War II, as I was just following orders. Now it didn't work for them. But if you are in the U.S. military, but let me ask you though. So let's say you're in the U.S. Let's say you're in the U.S. military, or even ICE, and Trump gives you what amounts to an unlawful order. Do you believe there will be some sort of repercussion for that after the Trump administration concludes?
Yes, because in your oath, you acted like when you took your oath, it was all enemies, foreign and domestic. And one of the things you're taught as a soldier is you do not follow illegal orders.
How do you dictate what's illegal and what's not? I mean, if the Trump administration, if Pete Hegseth comes up and tells you, look, soldier, this is a legal order, you've got your orders, move it. I mean, what do? You're going to tell Hegseth, head of the military, no?
Yes.
So what's next? Incarceration?
They could try, but there's been times where like they've sent out like the National Guard for like protests and things like that, expecting them to go after the people. And what did they do? They sat their weapons down and stood there and didn't do anything to the people.
But look at what's going on in Minneapolis. Have you seen anything from ICE that looks unlawful?
Plenty of things that have been unlawful, but you got to remember, like all those people that like love Trump, like the Proud Boys and things like that. Those are the people that joined ICE. Remember, ICE had to lower their standards to get all these people into ICE to increase their numbers.
So you believe what? What are you trying to indicate? White supremacists or racist groups are part of ICE?
Yes.
So how do you explain all the minorities? There's even Hispanics and blacks that are part of ICE as well. I mean, are they sitting right next to white supremacists in the back of the SUV?
Yes, and they wouldn't care because in their eyes, oh, those guys are the enemy, not me. How many times have we seen blagger go out there praying for Trump as hard as they can, and then the next thing you know, they out in the cold with nobody to turn to because their usefulness is done.
Wait a minute, Trump rewards loyalty, James. Are you telling me that the end result?
Tim,
go ahead.
The guy that got your namesake, Tim Scott, was he rewarded? Byron Davis, was he rewarded?
They weren't rewarded on the. They were not rewarded on the front end, but you don't know if Tim Scott received a nice handsome sum of money in his account or something like that. I mean, he could have been rewarded in a different way.
Vivek Ramaswamy.
Well, Vivek Ramaswamy, co-founder of Doge, decided to step down. They didn't kick Vivek out. Vivek decided to get.
No. He said he stood down for like to save face. Look at him now. Like every time you see something posted by Vivek Ramaswamy, the main people going after him is MAGA.
Well, had he remained as part of Doge, he would have had Elon Musk and Trump speaking favorably of him. It's him that decided to step away from MAGA.
Elon Musk is another example.
What do you mean?
But he's not blogger, but he's considered a minority.
Elon is not. Elon has come out and stated he is not South African. He is of British descent. He's come out and said that.
He's not South African. Where was he born?
I'm just telling you what the man said. I mean, Kamala Harris claims to be an American, yet MAGA says she's Jamaican and Indian. She was born here, so I don't know if where you were born always matters, because MAGA don't see Kamala Harris as American.
MAGA don't see a lot of people.
Well,
but yeah, like I said, Trump has minorities as long as he can, and then gets rid of them. And when they no longer serve him a purpose. Hell, Herschel Walker, after he lost that election, you ain't heard a word from him yet.
Well, Herschel still has his own fan base to be concerned about. I mean, listen, if you're African American and you have a large portion of African American fans, you're going to lose them with being associated with Trump. I mean, Nicki Minaj obviously has something else to be concerned with. Maybe it's her citizenship or the criminal history of her partner, but her fan base is gone. You're not going to see her at the Vibe Awards or any of that shit. Her fan base is gone. I mean,
they play. That's another perfect example of how MAGA uses minorities. Look what they did to her.
No, I don't blame what happened. I don't blame Nicki Minaj's situation on MAGA at all. MAGA didn't reach out to Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj likely reached out to MAGA.
Yeah, but they made her believe that she was like in the group. She was one of them, and gave her a fake Trump card.
Well, let me just say it like this: as long as Nicki Minaj continues to travel the country promoting Trump and speaking favorably of the Republican Party, she'll be allowed to stay. They will legitimize that and make it legal. She's not going to get kicked out. Now, if she happens to go Marjorie Taylor Greene or something,
the fact that she has a green card and still has to play up to that, she lets you know something's wrong.
It ain't easy to stay here legally. I mean, that's not just specific. And by the way, Nicki Minaj is worth millions. She could have probably had become a citizen a while ago. She has tons of money. You can buy citizenship, even if a Democrat's in there. You can buy that if you got that kind of money. She had just been slacking, not thinking it was going to catch up to her. So under Trump, she don't want to take any chances. But go ahead.
And that's another thing, like the fact that like a green card can still not guarantee you staying in the country. What's the point of the green card?
Well, the green card never was meant to block you from deportation. If you commit a crime while you're not a citizen, even with a green card, you can be kicked out. When I was in Australia, getting residency in Australia, it's the same thing. If you go over there and you only have residency and you commit a crime, they're going to revoke your residency. I mean, I believe that's everywhere.
But, Tim, you're talking about committing a crime. I'm talking about people who don't commit a crime.
I haven't heard any official green card holders get revoked that didn't commit some kind of crime. I mean, it might have been a mild crime like shoplifting 20 years ago or something, but they did have to commit some kind of crime.
Yeah, that was before Trump got in office.
No. I'm saying under Trump, I have not heard of green card holders just being kicked out for no reason at all.
But they're still getting grabbed up by ICE.
Grabbed up for what?
The same reason why, like, Americans that look Hispanic or something like that get grabbed up by ICE.
Oh, yeah, no.
They fit the profile.
Yeah, that's happening. ICE is grabbing folks for skin color, language spoken, and location they're found. I don't. Go ahead.
And I think I pretty sure I've seen like 1 or 2 videos of people saying, "Hey, I have a green card," and they still get thrown in. They still get thrown up.
Well, they don't. The police are going to tell you we don't trust people at face value. People do lie. So just yelling, "I have a green card" is not going to be enough. You got to prove that, is what they're going to say.
Okay, but a green card is something that you carry, Tim, just like your ID.
Okay.
Which means that if you sit there and say, "Hey, show me your papers," and they show you a green card, why are you
Hang on a second.
for this stuff?
Well, if you say you got a green card and you produce a green card, and then they run you through the system to make sure it's not a fake, some kind of fake card or whatever. Once they verify that, at that point they should just let you go. You're telling me they still detain folks after seeing their credentials?
How many Americans got detained when when they say, "Hey, I'm an American," and these guys still like, "Oh, we're still going to run you up," even though they have the ID on them. If you arrest somebody, you're supposed to check for weapons and things like that. That means you have access to their ID.
Yeah, I have not heard of an American citizen just being grabbed for the sake of being grabbed, possessing ID, and still being taken away. I've seen American citizens get hemmed up and have to show their ID, which to me I think is wrong as well. But I haven't heard of anybody who calmly produced ID, verifiable in American, and they took them away. I haven't heard of that.
There was these 2 Mexican kids that got hemmed up by ICE, and then there was one guy that he got grabbed by ICE. He showed that he was a citizen, and they made him walk in the snow.
Yeah. Well, the children are
I believe
obviously
that was up in Michigan.
the children are obviously not going to have their paperwork, so we know that's not going to happen. And I see folks in the comments certainly agree with you. I see just me and LB says it happens regularly. Look, I'm not going to pretend like I'm not defending ICE. I haven't seen this scenario, but to me, just approaching somebody because they speak in Spanish or standing in front of a Home Depot, I think that's wrong. But I haven't seen people that can present legitimate credentials still being taken away. I'm just saying I haven't seen it. I'm not saying it don't happen.
They took that illegal procedure of stop and frisk and put it on a national scale.
Yeah. I mean, the Supreme Court, from what I hear, though, or at least a judge has given them the right to continue doing it. I got to move it on, James, but I mean, this is what we're dealing with for the next 3 years, unless the Democrats win in the midterms and do something about it. So this is what we're dealing with. James, thanks for coming through.
Real quick, go ahead. He pulled this off right now. And that's why he's trying to pull this off right now, because he's afraid that, hey, we're losing too much. Like they've been losing elections since he got in office. In places where they should have won by a landslide, like he likes to say.
You saying that's why he's trying to pull off this? You saying that's why he's trying to nationalize the election?
Because all their stunts are failing.
Scale of 1 to 10, how successful you think he'll be at nationalizing the election? 10 being successful.
-2.
James, thanks for coming through. That's a hell of a failure rate. Tap the screen, -2. Trump is normally not. I don't think -2. Trump doesn't fail like that, does he? I won't say a 10, but -2. Wow. I see in the comments, Robert says a 10. Nikki is a grown-ass woman. That is true. So is Kanye West. But fact is, and I'll go back to the box, tap the screen, get the likes on up to 60. But the fact is, if you are an African-American, if you're black, and shit, nowadays it's probably starting to happen with Hispanics, but certainly if you're black, if you're African-American, and your primary customer or fan base is also African-Americans, and you start associating with Trump, you're going to lose them. Now, if you're an African-American and your fan base is diverse or predominantly white, like let's say Candace Owens or Larry Elder or the Hodge twins or Officer Tatum, their primary fan base is white, you're fine. You can endorse in favor and speak positively of Trump all you want. In fact, you may make a lot more money doing it. But yeah, if you're an African-American and your primary fan base, your customers or whatever you're doing are mostly African-American, it's not going to work well for you. Even Jelly Roll, with them having the awards the other day and some folks were obviously speaking out and criticizing ICE, Jelly Roll don't want nothing to do with that. You guys know Jelly Roll, the singer with the tats all over the face, lost a ton of weight. Because politics is going to divide your fan base up. Now, he sings country music, but he has a lot of minorities as part of his fan base as well. You don't want to lose half of his fans. I mean, Kid Rock, I mean, that's rap. Kid Rock likely had a lot of minorities as part of his fan base earlier in his career. He doesn't now. So, I mean, same thing with Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift ain't a lot of MAGA favoring Taylor Swift anymore. Once you get involved in politics, you're cutting your fan base in half. And if most of your fan base is on one side of the political spectrum, it makes zero sense to do it. Like Kanye West, for instance, most of his fan base were left wingers. So for him to go far to the right, that made no sense whatsoever. Yeah, there's some white kids that listen to his music. I get it. But most of his fan base, even the whites, are probably liberal. By him deciding to go, support Trump, and then, I mean, he's seen wearing swastikas and everything. I mean, done. Not to mention he had big endorsement deals, and you got contracts and all. A lot of your agents and shit are Jewish, and you just destroyed himself. He took out an ad in the Wall Street Journal last week apologizing for it. I mean, what has it been 2 or 3 years now? I don't think there's any coming back from what Kanye West did. Looking in the comments, though, Will G says, Mr. G says Trump ain't shit. Nationalization or martial law. Nationalizing the elections. I'm still asking, why is there not a lot of MAGA outcry on that? In the comments, someone says nobody follows Kanye West anymore. He's incredibly talented, though. He's incredibly talented from both music and in terms of design. I mean, his shoes were right up there under Michael Jordan's shoes. He was making a killing. He's a very talented individual. So I suppose he could be the man behind the man at this point, but anybody find out his stamp is on something, it's gonna hurt. But what happened with him taking a MAGA stance did not affect his ability to make really good quality music and probably design clothing or shoes and things like that. It's just nobody wants to fuck with him because of what he got involved in. Continuing on, though, let me go to the next caller. And thank you guys for tapping the screen. Get us up to 60,000. We'll continue on with MAGA Reacts. Good evening, MAGA. He's not supporting Trump, says Mr. Mobile. You talking about Kanye? Kanye supported Trump. He's on record doing enough of it that wherever he is now, it does not matter. MAGA Reacts, good evening.
Hey, what's going on?
Not much at all. So, nationalizing the election. Now, you always present an interesting counterpoint. Do you favor President Trump nationalizing our elections?
I mean, it needs to be done, but Trump doesn't need to do it. The Congress needs to do it.
I want you to elaborate on what is a nationalized election in your opinion. How does that work?
Well, right now we have, 50 states plus a couple of territories. Each one of them has its own rules for elections.
Each one of them has its own rules for everything, MAGA Reacts. That's what states' rights is about. No. They have their own rules for everything.
That's kind of the point. It's a federal election, so maybe we should have federal rules for elections for all states. All it means is all the states should have all the same rules. So one state can't.
What rules are different from? Give me some examples of rules that are different.
Well, in Minnesota, you could do what's called ballot harvesting. So you could go around and go to all your friends and have them fill out ballots and harvest them, and take them to a fucking to election box. It's legal to do that in fucking Minnesota.
What's wrong? If I call you up, MAGA Rex, I call you up. Look, man, I definitely want to vote in this next election. This shit is important, but man, I don't fucked around playing ball and twisted my. Could you take my vote in for me? Bring me a ballot. I'll fill it out. Take it in with yours. You want that to be against the law?
1 or 2 is fine, but 30 or more, I'm not for that.
What?
I think some states have a limit of 3 or 4, maybe 5, which. Again, it doesn't matter what the rules are. It's just we're gonna have the same rules in every state. That's all that means.
What does he mean? Okay, what about him suggesting the Republicans control it?
No, he didn't say Republicans should control it. He said Republicans should do it. That means we have the majority. We need to start it, and then the Democrats come in and help us do it. Either way, the Democrats and Republicans have to do it together.
Well, let me. This is about 20 seconds. I want to make sure, because if what you said is the way it was said, then you're making some points. But I want to hear it again.
Said, we have a couple of jobs. Vince is unbelievable.
Actually, that's not what I was meaning to play. This is what I was meaning to play.
That's the other thing. He barely said it, like one quick line. And
yeah, but he says what you're. But he covers what you're talking about.
This morning, President Trump is calling on Republicans to nationalize elections as he continues to push baseless claims of voter fraud.
The Republicans should say, we want to take over. We should take over the voting in at least 15 places. The Republicans ought to nationalize the voting.
So he's saying the Republicans should not. He said we should take over. He used the word take over. So he said we should take. So that's the Republicans taking over the election. Do you favor that?
No, it needs to be bipartisan.
What is the difference between it being bipartisan versus the Republicans taking it over, in your opinion?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it needs to be bipartisan. The Republicans can't just do it. How are they going to take over anything?
But according to you, if there's no difference between it being bipartisan and the Republicans just taking it over, why are you against the Republicans taking it over? You said there's no difference.
It's funky. No, the wording he used is just very funky. Like, it makes no sense.
Republicans take over. You can't interpret what it means for the Republicans to take over.
I mean, they're going to take over the entire state and every election poll, even the.
He said in 15 different locations at least. I mean, we obviously going to assume those are Democrat strongholds. He's not going to say the Republicans need to take over in Savannah, Georgia. So it's a red area already. So he's clearly talking about taking over in Democrat areas. So what do you foresee would be the difference between the Republicans taking over versus it being bipartisan, as you say?
I mean, either way, the whole point is to have the rules all.
Yeah, but would there be any difference, though, if the Republicans took it over versus it being bipartisan? Do you believe there would be any difference?
Well, with Republicans, it's going to be less time to vote and no ballot harvesting, and so you're going to have like the day of voting and maybe like a week of early voting, but you're not going to have like a month of early voting. You know what I mean?
Why would the Republicans reduce the time to vote?
Because like if you do a month, people could vote, something could happen, and now like they already voted. They can't really change their vote. Like say, someone votes for Trump and then he comes out in the Epstein file, then they already voted. They can't go back and change the name because they already voted. So the time to vote should be limited.
Yeah, but I don't understand how limiting the time to vote addresses anything. Okay, let's say I voted for Hillary Clinton, and then Jim Comey tells me that she was involved in Benghazi or some shit like that. Same, even if it's only a week, or if you drive it down from a month, as you said, to even down to 2 days, I still already voted. I can't change it, so I don't see why dropping the time to vote down.
So you think we should have just 1 day of vote? I'm okay with 1 day of voting, but no, I think a week is fair.
Yeah, but I'm trying to figure out.
A lot could happen in a month. Not so much could happen in a week.
Okay, but if a lot happens in a month, then that means you're giving people more time to make a more informed decision. How does it benefit the voting public to shrink down, 1 day or whatever, to narrow down the time you can vote? How does the voting public benefit from that?
You just said it. You're giving them more time to make a decision.
No, you're giving them less. You're giving them less. If they have a month to vote,
no,
versus you got to do it all today.
They get more time to make the decision. They have less time to actually put in enter the results, but they have more time to think about who to vote for.
You could do that if you got a month to vote. You can still think.
But if they voted at the beginning of the month, then they have 3 weeks less to think about who to vote for.
Nobody's making you vote at the beginning of the month, though. Nobody's making you do that. If you're somebody who's going to look, you can still vote.
It's not a waste of time. Whatever they choose, it has to be accepted by everyone. Otherwise, they're going to have protests. The rules have to be fair for everybody, and everybody has to like them.
Yeah,
So
I'm
whatever
fine
everybody
with
agrees
that,
on,
and
we're
I'm
gonna
fine
get
with
done.
that, and I agree with that. But I'm trying to figure out why, because you said if the Republicans are in control, there's going to be less
I'm just
time to
giving you
vote.
examples of what they would like to do. I don't know if
Why
that's
don't,
what
but
they'll
why?
do.
I get that, and I agree with you. But why do Republicans want to shrink down the time you have to vote?
Because it's just better that way. This way, people get more time to decide who to vote for, and you're not sitting there like counting votes for like a month. Like you could get the results right away because you don't have to.
So
I don't know,
somebody
just
who may be
less chances for fraud.
How does
More
that
precise,
lessen it?
you know.
How does shrinking? Okay, if I get a week to vote, and somebody say no, we're going to make it so you can only vote on Sunday. How does that reduce the likelihood of me committing fraud?
Because you got a month to fucking commit fraud versus a week.
I don't understand.
You got a month to you know, find a homeless guy and get him registered and fucking fill out a ballot and harvest ballots and then put them in.
Where is you? I guess what I would ask, because you're not the only one that says
You're
stuff
gonna
like
get
this.
me you're gonna get me flagged with the way we're talking.
Well,
But,
we'll move on shortly, but I guess because I hear a lot of folks talking like you. The first thing I want to know is where is all this happening at? Where are all of these people hiring homeless? And I mean, because I guess you could do that if you really wanted to, considering
what do
it's
you mean? They caught a guy in California doing that shit. I mean,
Yeah.
a bunch of people have been caught with homeless people voting.
I have not seen this. Because, first of all, that's a felony. We understand that. I have not seen this large list of people that are willing to put their freedom at stake. I mean, get a year, 5 years in prison to get a few extra votes for a candidate. You notice the Trump administration ain't producing a whole lot of names of people doing this stuff. We hear about Lincoln Riley all the time. Where's the John Adams guy who did something like that in the middle of California? You don't hear any names of people who actually did it.
Well, apparently they're looking into it because they went into Fulton County for a reason. So
It's
hopefully
year
we'll find out in a
5.
month.
It's year 5 and they're still looking into it. The statute of
Well,
limitations
he
has
was for 4
expired.
years. He had 2 weeks or like he had like 2 months after like a month and a half after the election, and Bill Barr was working against him the whole time. So he got no time after the election. Then he was gone for 4 years. So really, he only had a year and a month.
Yeah, but what about the state? In Fulton County, Georgia, the governor is Republican. You think the Republican governor's not concerned if his state had fraud? He's been governor the whole time.
He doesn't care. He won. Why would he care?
Why would so you're wait a minute. So you're saying that if a Republican governor who supported Trump had fraud in his state where he won and Trump lost, he wouldn't give a shit?
No, because anyone who went after anyone that even talked about election fraud in 2020 freaking lost their election bid, and it hurt them politically.
He won though,
that shit
man.
was like so toxic the last 4 years.
He won, and he's been governor the whole time. And you're telling me he, as someone who wanted Trump to win, doesn't give a damn about his own?
I don't know if he won. Hold on, where do you get he won?
Governor Kemp in Georgia. Governor Kemp.
I don't think Kemp liked it. I don't think Kemp ever liked Trump.
Yeah, he did. He's the one Trump called and said, "Find me 11,000 votes."
No, I don't think it was Kemp.
It was.
It wasn't Kemp.
You
I don't
sure?
think it was Kemp. I think it was like the AG or some shit like
No,
that. Somebody else. It wasn't Kemp.
It happened in his state. Why are you? I guess the point I'm trying to make is, what's making you suggest that Governor Kemp, who's Republican, did not care about fraud in his state? What's leading you to say that?
Most Republicans didn't care. Like to be honest, even I almost didn't care. Like it just let's move on. That's always the what's it called? That's always the vibe, I guess. I don't know the word I'm looking for, but that's always the attitude toward election fraud. Let's just move on.
Is it possible that, as opposed to suggesting they didn't care, is it possible that maybe they didn't believe what he was saying was true? I mean, are you suggesting that all the judges that he went to court, they didn't care either?
I mean, with the judges, it could have been half of it they didn't care, half of it wasn't really their job to fucking look into.
What about his?
That shit had to be investigated.
What about William Barr?
The FBI fucking gave up after like 2 weeks.
What about William Barr, his top cop? Did he not care? He was the one investigating and said Trump's claims are bullshit.
He looked into it for 2 weeks, 3 weeks stops, and then he quit.
Is there a,
He threatened, everybody threatened to quit if Trump pushed them to look into it. Do you not remember that? They all threatened to quit on him.
well, if somebody is telling you something that you feel confident is made up, you're going to look into it for longer than 2 weeks. If you feel confident what you're being told is bullshit, I just go ahead and look into it for a little bit. I'm pretty sure what he's saying ain't true, but I'll make a few phone calls. I'll go down and take a couple plane flights. How long are you going to chase something that you feel likely is not true from day one?
Listen, we've chased a lot less important shit for a lot longer. We chased the Russian collusion for 2 years, and they gave us 2 weeks for the 2020 election. Now I'm definitely gonna get flagged. Did we not spend 2 years of the Mueller bullshit for the Russian stuff, and they spent 2 weeks for the election?
but that's it. But here's the thing, though, MAGA. That's his own administration that spent 2 weeks. So if your own people, just like Mike Pence, also never said Trump won. These are your own people. So it's not like you.
I mean,
it's not like we.
they?
It's not like it was Eric
Who are
Holder.
they to say he won or lost? You keep saying that. Everybody said he lost. Who are they to tell you that? They're not FBI. They didn't go out and investigate anything. They're not fucking.
No.
They're not investigators of any kind.
No, but the ones who did investigate said he lost. The judges he went to court with said his claims
They
were
only spent
unfounded.
2 weeks investigating. The judges don't investigate. The judges only look at
No,
fucking the rules and what you brought them.
Right.
And it wasn't the FBI that brought them proof. It was just random people bringing them fucking garbage. Like, the FBI needed to investigate for 2 years, like they did the Russia thing.
Yeah, but
They
I
spent
guess
2
the
weeks,
point
and then they
is
quit, and then the Democrats took over, and that was the end of it. They spent, especially with January 6th, they spent 0 time looking into it.
I guess the point is it's not up to you or I to tell them how much time they must spend investigating something. If you've made claims and you're the one telling me, hold on, you're telling me valid. You're telling wait, hold
All
on.
I'm saying is
Wait a minute. You're trying to give me a problem, and you want me to go out and prove what you're saying is true. Okay, if you say they're ballot harvesting, who did you hear that from? Where is it happening at? Direct me somewhere. You're just telling me. I know this. No, hold on, MAGA. Here's the problem.
Snapchat.
Here's the problem. You're telling me stuff is happening, and you want me to go out and find somebody who's doing it to validate you. Okay, if dead people are, give me some names. Who told you this stuff? If direct me somewhere. You want me to just go out into the American public and try to find this?
Why do we even care? Most of the time there is fraud and we don't care. Why do we care about 2020?
Because because this is the reason he's nationalizing the election.
Why do we care about 2020?
Ask him. This is the reason we're nationalizing the election because of that.
I'll tell you why we care, and it's very easy. Is because in Georgia specifically, 12,000 votes decided the winner. That's a very close election.
Okay.
Same thing in Wisconsin, same thing in Arizona, PA. All these places had a small margin. That's like you lost the game by 1 point. So guess what? You want the fucking play not just recounted. Recounting the same shot doesn't fucking prove. You want to watch all the replays to make sure you lost by 1 point.
Okay.
But guess what? We wanted to see the replays, and it's like the old NBA. Remember NBA like 10 years ago? If someone cheats in the last like 2 minutes, they don't review shit. But now you could call a timeout and use your timeout to get reviewed.
But here's the issue,
we lost by 1 point,
MAGA. Here's the issue,
and we
though.
got no like replay.
MAGA. Here's the issue. There's only so much they can. Okay, you've had multiple recounts. You've had 60 court cases. You've had your own attorney. It gets to a point. It gets to a point where then why ask for more recounts? Then, if you don't trust the output of a recount, why keep asking for them?
Because it's better than nothing. It's all we have is a recount.
So, in other words,
it needs to be
a recount. Wait, hold on.
Verification.
So a recount is better than nothing, but you're not going to take it seriously unless it works in your favor. That what you're telling me?
No, I'm sure they counted the votes correctly.
Why ask for a recount if it doesn't mean anything? I'm trying to figure. Help me understand. Based on what you said, help me understand. If a recount doesn't mean anything, why you're asking for it?
I'm not asking for a recount. I'm asking for an investigation into the election. Recount also helps just in case it was miscounted. But no, I want an investigation into an election that's also 2 years. I don't want 2 weeks. I want 2 years.
Okay.
Look into it for 2 years. If they would have looked into it for 2 years, I would not be talking about this right now.
Well, what I'm trying to figure out then, if you don't know what's going on, why are you telling people you won by a landslide? If it has not even been
that's fucking Trump. That's Trump being a politician. That's not what I'm saying. I don't think he won by a landslide.
So in other words,
by 1 or 2 points.
right.
I want to make sure those 2 points are legit and they're not fucking.
So based on what you're saying, the guy who's challenging the credibility of the election is actually making statements like he won by a landslide that has no credibility. He's making statements that have no credibility while questioning somebody else's
Because
credibility.
he's a fucking politician. He's doing his job. He's fucking, he's being like a cheerleader for his fucking team. Okay? That's not the same as, an FBI person investigating it for 2 years and then telling us, that there's no cheating.
So it's a president's job to say they won an election when there's no evidence to suggest it. So Biden should have said I won by a landslide last November is what you're telling me.
Yeah, they should have both said it, and then the FBI investigates for 2 years, and they tell us the winner.
So every election,
fucking replay can be reviewed to make sure the points counted.
Wait a minute, though.
Not that crazy. Even the NBA changed its rules where you can review fucking plays now.
So every election, wait a minute, let me make sure I'm getting this clear.
Review the plays.
Let me make sure I'm getting this clear. So every election, regardless of the result, wait a minute, hold on, hang on, no, you already said this. So every election, regardless of the results, both sides should jump up and say I won by a landslide is what you're saying. That's what a politician's job is.
It doesn't matter. I'm talking about when the election.
You didn't answer my question, though. You didn't answer my question.
It was close.
You didn't answer my question. What you were saying, let me make sure I get this clear, is that when the votes are called in, the results come in, both parties should jump up and say I won by a landslide. According to you, that's a politician's job, correct?
Yes. They should always say that they're doing good and they're winning until you prove them wrong.
Okay.
But that has nothing to do with the actual score. I want the score to be reviewed.
The score has come in already, Mac, and he's still saying he won by a landslide. Is that his job?
They never investigated it. They didn't spend 2 years looking into it like they spent 2 years on Russian collusion.
So if they didn't investigate it, if there hasn't been a proper investigation, why is he saying he won by a landslide?
Because that's what do you want him to say? What do you want him to say?
There hasn't been a proper investigation. Exactly what you're saying.
I wish he was smart enough to say that shit. I really wish he did. Because that would have been the right thing to say, and maybe we're gonna.
So it goes back to what I'm saying.
Trump is not that smart. These are politicians. You're asking too much of them.
Well,
so 80 years old.
So it goes back to exactly what I'm saying. You're questioning the credibility of an election while making statements that have no credibility to them.
I mean, you act like Trump counted the votes. Trump didn't count the votes.
I'm acting like he has I'm acting like he has no reason. Even you're admitting to say he won by a landslide. You're admitting he has no reason to say that.
What did I say the reason was? That I want this investigated. I just said it 5 minutes
ago. That ain't what you were responding to.
What was my reasoning? Why am I still?
That ain't got nothing to do with what you just responded. I stated.
I never got up here.
I made it clear. Now you're going elsewhere. I made it clear. He's challenging the credibility of an election while making statements that have no credibility. You've already agreed with that.
I voted, and I want my fucking, I want the game to be fair. I don't want to be cheated out of a fucking election.
Okay. When he said, let me ask you before I move it on from you.
What the Democrats fucking lie about.
Okay, before I move it on from you, let me simple question before I move it on from you.
But hold on, tell me real quick. Why did I say that we should investigate this? I said it twice now.
It has been investigated. It has been. It just hasn't been investigated to the level you wanted.
2 weeks?
That's an investigation.
For 2 weeks. You're telling me they did a good job in 2 weeks. They looked into it 2 weeks.
Look, you said something happened. If you can't guide him anywhere where it's happening,
We don't even know if he actually looked into it.
No.
He might have just ran the clock and Trump was gone and then nobody cared.
Attorney General Attorney General Barr stated that Trump's claims are bullshit. If you're saying dead people voted, give me some names of some people to check out. Not just expect me to drive all over the country.
When did I say that people voted? When did I say that people voted?
No,
I've been on your. We talked about this a lot. Not once did I say
I
that.
I don't know what else to say, Maga, other than the election was investigated. You wanted it investigated longer.
For 2 weeks.
Okay.
Who investigated it before, and he was gone in 2 months. And after like 2 weeks, he basically said, "I'm done. I didn't see any evidence, so that's it." You give up anything. You give up on anything after 2 weeks. You're never gonna get
if you're not if that's like me calling the cops and saying somebody broke in my house. The door ain't nothing wrong with the door, nothing stolen. If you don't present anything, the cop's going to leave. He's not going to spend a bunch of hours there investigating. You didn't give him nothing to work with. If you say the election was okay, then direct me in some kind of direction of what you're talking about. Okay, you said ballots were
harvested. If I called the
harvested.
cops and told them my house was broken into, they'll probably look into it for more than 2 weeks.
No, they're not. I guarantee they wouldn't. They're not going to look into it, even if it is broken into. I'm just going to tell you, if you're providing no direction, you say 2 weeks. Okay.
How many people? Listen, how many people think that election was stolen? You have half the country thinking this.
You got to
have think that's worth more than 2 weeks of looking into it.
You got to have the country thinking people. You got to have the country thinking people. You got to have the country thinking people are eating cats and dogs. Ain't nobody looked into that either. I mean, people just don't believe what he says.
Again, that half the country did not vote on cats and dogs. Half the country voted for Trump.
I gotta move it on, Mac. I gotta move it on, but I gotta move it on. But fact is, if Trump says something is happening, half the country is gonna believe it based on that's it. That's all you have to do is say it.
I never brought up what Trump said. Not once did I say Trump said it, and that's why I think it. I told you it's because it was a close election, because they only spent 2 weeks looking into it. And the time ran out, and Biden took over, and Biden was not going to look into it. Okay. So I mean,
you didn't need to bring up. You don't need to bring up what you don't need to bring up what Trump said. The only reason people believe the 2020 election was stolen is because Trump said it. Without him saying that, this doesn't happen.
That's the goddamn lie. You guys keep.
I gotta go. I gotta go. Look, if 2 weeks is not enough, is 3 weeks enough? Is a month enough? 6 months enough? Here's my point on this whole thing. And we're talking about the 2020 election because Trump is talking about it. Folks, why the hell won't you get over this? This is an old topic. Well, that's the reason Trump is talking about nationalizing our election going forward. But the point I'm making is this. If you present nothing for the investigators to look into, it's going to be a quick investigation. Bringing up that they only investigated it for 2 weeks. Okay, well, what? Give me what you told him. Okay, you said that in this town, 15 people who were deceased voted. Did you provide any names? If you're not giving him anything to look after, of course it's going to be a quick investigation. You're just throwing shit up against the wall and hoping it stick and expecting him to go all over the country trying to find something to make what he said. You know, I'll give you a good example. Locker room talk. He said something that many found deplorable. I can, reach under and grab him by the pussy or whatever. And then other folks just I think Melania Trump is the one that is responsible for the phrase that was just locker room talk. So folks just jump up and defend something that is looking bad. Okay, so if he says the election is stolen, he's expecting folks on the right to just go out on their own and find things that make his statement true. Very similar to when President Trump said they're eating cats and dogs in Springfield. We ran several shows on this. Right-wingers all over the place were literally going out trying to find stories to make Trump's statement true, presenting videos from Haiti and all kinds of shit. So that's what was the hope, is if I say the election is stolen, my supporters will go out and find stuff to make what I said true. Didn't happen. It didn't happen. That's 2 weeks is certainly sufficient when you haven't directed anybody into what your claims are. That's why Attorney General Barr said it was bullshit. Like, you said a whole bunch of stuff and you're not basing it on anything in reality. That's why the courts kicked him out of court really quick, because you're walking in here with a bunch of accusations and you don't have any true direction to steer people in. So in court, you got to present evidence. You can't do, well, I know they ballot harvested and a bunch of people, they're closing windows at polling places. That ain't proof of anything. Okay, you don't like that they close the windows, or you don't like that this place is open a couple extra hours. That don't prove any of the claims you're saying, though. And that's where it came from. Anyway, looking in the comments, should all states, Dencal says, have the same pew-pew laws? Now, that's in regards to my caller saying that all states should have the same voting laws. It's a good point. Should they have all the same pew-pew laws? I don't, look, in terms of voting, I don't see where there's a necessity to have whether it's mail-in voting or if you can vote on the weekend. I don't see where there's a necessity for all the states to do the same with that. I don't see it. Because like now, my last caller pointed out, well, voting is a federal, well, the pew-pew comes from the Second Amendment. That's federal as well. Yet every state has different laws in terms of gun ownership. Good point, Dencal. Mr. G says, MAGA wants to cut voters off, the less, the better. I believe that that is the case in terms of shortening the amount of time you get to vote. I do believe. I'll go back to the box, tap the screen, get us up to 65. Generally, when you hear allowing people to vote, the left want to make it easy to vote, give you more time to vote, allow you to mail in votes, the left would allow you to vote.
Battery. Please charge.
Don't know what that is. The left would allow you to vote online. So anytime you hear somebody trying to make it easier to vote, it's generally going to be folks on the left. Now, fact is, if you make it real easy to vote, you do increase the possibility of fraud. That's just true. I mean, if it's easier to vote, it's easier to commit fraud. But the left does want to make it easier for folks to vote. It increases the turnout as well. The right, anytime you hear the right talking about voting, they want to make it harder to vote. Now, they believe it reduces the chance of fraud, which is probably true. But what happens also is it reduces the chances of legitimate voters being able to vote. Couldn't get the day off work, or, I was injured and I couldn't get off the sofa, and they don't want anybody else being allowed to take my ballot in, or, I'm an elderly person and I can't leave the house and they don't want to allow me to mail it in. So you're reducing fraud, but you're also cutting legitimate voters from the rolls by doing that. But yeah, anytime it comes to elections, the Democrats, you hear somebody talking about they want to make it easier to vote, it's usually Democrats. You hear somebody talking about they want to make it harder to vote, it's usually Republicans. Looking in the comments, says Gas Pipe J. What? That's a hell of a name. Just release the files. That's all I want to see. It ain't gonna matter, Gas Pipe. I really don't. How many times do I have to say it's a 90-10 issue? 90% of Trump is good in the eyes of MAGA, great for the country. They are willing to endure 10% of them that look, he may have done something wrong with children. I'm not going to throw him under the bus when 90% of the guy is great for the country. MAGA knows exactly how many voters they have as long as they get everyone in and out and cut everyone else off. It's free and fair. Eesh. Let's hope it don't go that way, Mr. G. Let's hope it don't go that way. And last but not least, lost 60 court cases with no evidence. And that is true. That is absolutely true. Let me go back to the box. Who can compete against MAGA, says Bake Boss. Let's just be clear. With President Trump at the helm of MAGA, they are a formidable force in national elections. However, if the Constitution remains intact, Trump is done in terms of national elections. The point I'm making is, while Trump is a formidable force, and I don't know what liberal could go up there and be guaranteed to beat Trump, the next head of MAGA is not going to be as strong as Trump. J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, you name them, Pete Hegseth, they don't have the same it factor, the same draw, the same way of speaking, being able to lead a crowd. They're not the showmanship. It's just not the same. I'm not saying that one of those individuals could not win, but none of them individuals is Trump. Trump to MAGA is enormously bigger than J.D. Vance. Trump could snap his fingers and make J.D. Vance a rhino tomorrow if he wanted to. Same thing with Hegseth. You see what he did with Marjorie Taylor Greene. He can get rid of any of them folks. Nobody can get rid of Trump in the eyes of MAGA. Nobody can. So the point I'm saying is, I don't know who's going to lead MAGA going forward, But in terms of elections, that person is not going to be as strong as Trump. They're just not. Trump has an it factor that's almost impossible to duplicate. Let me go back to the box. You can't succeed a cult leader. That's that is true. I will leave it at that. He said you cannot succeed a cult leader. I'll go back to the box with Mike, the boss. But yeah, I'm just simply saying I don't think anyone has the it factor of President Trump. Mike, now obviously you're not a Trump supporter, but do you agree with me that Trump is a one of a kind leader?
He's a one of a kind criminal. I wouldn't.
He's a leader, Mike. Give him credit for what he is. He is criminal or not. Criminals can be leaders.
Again, you're right. You're right. You're right. And again, when you say one of a kind, I would say he's maybe two of two. And you know the other one I'm talking about that we can't say on this app.
Oh my God.
He was a leader as well.
Okay, well, let's. Okay, we're not going to go back to the 30s in Germany. I get where you're going. But the point I'm making is, after Trump is gone, there is nobody on deck to lead MAGA that has that type of strength. Would you agree with that?
I would agree that outwardly, the American people facing, yes. But I see that J.D. Vance is trying to duplicate that.
Yeah, he's trying, but
he's trying.
J.D., if Trump passed away and J.D. Vance had to go on stage and speak and things like that, I mean, just Trump saying, the Somalis are garbage and I don't want, J.D. Vance don't do that kind of stuff. Trump says what?
Yes, he does. No, that's not true. No. He doesn't say it. He says a lot of the same stuff. He just doesn't say it the way. He doesn't look as stupid and as idiotic as Trump does. But he says the same shit.
I don't know. You think J.D. Vance would be talking about taking Greenland whether they like it or not? You think he has the cojones to be like that on the world stage?
Yeah, and he's been doing it. That's why I said he's been rehearsing. He's repeated all the Greenland stuff. And by the way, evil whoever came up, Trump did not say that he was trying to change Greenland into Trumpland. He did not say that. I don't know where he heard that from, but Trump never said that. I do my research. Trump never said that.
I never heard it either. I was shocked. I mean, look here's the crazy. Wait, Mike. Here's the crazy thing is, even though I've never heard Trump suggest he wants to turn Greenland into Trumpland. For President Trump, it's actually believable.
No, it is. But I'm just trying to, just trying to be fair about my research. But they did put an act. They did submit something to Congress called the Red, White, and Blueland Act when they were talking about taking over Greenland. They did do that.
The Red, White, and Blueland Act. So
yeah,
Look, I mean, I've had folks like MAGA Reacts come on here and say that the Greenlanders should feel happy we're going to take them over. Fortunately, it looks like Trump is back down from that.
Yeah, well, Tim, you got to remember when the MAGA reactions and Big Bosses that come up, they never ever. Well, Big Boss never comes up, but they never do. Let me give you an example of lack of research. MAGA sat here and started talking about ballot harvesting, right?
Yeah.
And he brought up Minnesota, but what he didn't tell you is that first of all, they don't ballot harvest in Minnesota by law. They gave an exemption during COVID. That was the exemption. What's going on, Miss Mo Better?
Well, I'm gonna go with what I think it was Den Cal or Will G when they talked about each state should have. Look, if Minnesota gives some kind of exemption during COVID, like Pennsylvania did as well, if we're gonna believe in favor states' rights, you can't be against states' rights when the state don't do something that you like. I'm okay with states' rights as long as they do things my way. If they don't do it my way, then I want big government to step in. That's not how it should work.
Yeah, you're right. Right. And he specifically targeted 15 states, not all states, Democratic states.
Yeah.
And then he wants Republican states. But again, you know what that is? When you list the tenets of fascism, that's number 14.
Explain. Explain.
Controlling elections.
Yeah. I don't, but let me ask you this way, because MAGA, I'm talking about not MAGA Reacts, but MAGA in general, Trump supporters. Mm-hmm. They are small government, constitution-loving crowd. Why are they not speaking out against this? I mean, the man is literally talking about nationalizing the damn election. Why are MAGA not outraged about this?
because they out. Listen, Tim, I've been telling you this. The reason why it's getting so thin, you don't have them come up on your platform as much anymore because it's getting harder and harder and harder to justify the question they know you're going to ask. What are they going to say at this point? What are they going to yell and scream about? It's not that. This is what they say they voted for. What are they going to yell and scream about?
MAGA Reacts answered it. I did ask him if I get straight talk commerce in here again, because he's obviously strong MAGA. I mean, look, your guy is talking about not only nationalizing the election, but letting the Republicans control it. I mean, can you imagine Obama saying, I want to nationalize the election and the Democrats get to control? I don't even know what to do with that.
They would have tried to impeach him for saying that. They would have tried to impeach him for saying it.
Yeah.
Let alone, listen, you know how they had the vote on the House floor today? They would have been talking about that shit this morning had Obama said that last night. There's no question in my mind.
I don't.
It's getting to a point.
Go ahead.
Well, it's getting to a point where every day gives you something different. Every day tells you and shows another card that they've been trying to play this whole time. They're losing elections. They lost their Senate seat in Texas, although it was in a blue state, in a blue region. But they lost that seat. They lost one another local Senate seat that they didn't think they were going to win in a ruby red district that Trump had won by 17 points.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And then when you went and looked at the exit polls, did you see how many Republicans voted for the person, the Democratic candidate?
No, I didn't see that.
60%.
Wow. So there's no energy behind the Republican vote right now.
Say that one more time.
There's no energy behind the Republican vote right now.
Because they're not, again, all of this we're winning is not, they can say it all they want. This is like WWE, but I told you that.
Wait a minute, but no, I disagree. They are winning. Well, let me clear it. He's winning, but as long as he is winning, MAGA feels like it's a victory for them. You know, I always make it the comparison to a sports team. I'm a Chicago Bears fan, and when the Bears win, I say we are winning. Now, it doesn't affect my life at all. The price of groceries for me is not going to go down after a Bears victory, but I feel like I'm winning. When Trump was able to beat the charges, they feel like they're winning. It didn't affect their life at all. But every victory for President Trump, making liberals cry, locking up Don Lemon, whatever the case may be, they feel like those are victories. It does not affect their life one bit, but to them, that is what they justify as winning.
Right. Those are their feelings. Those are their feelings.
Yeah.
These are, again, I'll say it again. These are the same people with the snowflakes and the betas and all of that shit. Now they're in their feelings. And like I told you before, I've never seen somebody win so much and cry so much at the same time. Never seen it.
Well, they think.
I mean, these aren't even tears of joy. These are tears of anger. Like they're angry about their victories.
Well, they're angry. They're also angry. They believe the liberals are trying to destroy the country. They believe Biden let in a whole bunch of dangerous people that are committing fraud and taking our resources and actually injuring and hurting American citizens. They believe they're pissed off that the Democrats let the country get fucked up so bad. That's their point on it.
I know, and they're on all of those points, they're factually incorrect on all of them.
Really? You don't think Biden? Wait a minute. Wait. You don't think Biden did screw up in some areas? Certainly with border control. You think he was securing the border properly?
I think that he was securing the border by the design of the law. You and I have this conversation all the fucking time. The funny part is the border was closed. The border was closed from 2020 all the way to May 2023, right? Based on Title 42. Yes.
Okay. If you say yeah.
So when they talk about the amount of undocumented immigrants or illegal immigrants that came in the country over the 4 years, that in its face value is not even true. Because from 2020 to 2023, it was Title 42 and it was closed.
Well, I'm going to say it like this.
Tim, is that a fact? Is that a fact?
I don't think. I think the fact doesn't matter in this case, Mike. I'm going to tell you something. when it comes to
Wait a
voting,
minute.
let me explain it to you what I'm saying. I know it sounds ridiculous to say facts don't matter, but fact is,
Yes.
huh?
Yes.
It sounds I'm going to admit it. I'm going to admit it sounds ridiculous, but give me a moment to clear it up. The point I'm making is when it comes to voters, perception is reality. President Biden was also saying the economy was bouncing back and doing very well. If your perception is that when I go to the store, I can't afford to buy shit, that's your reality. It doesn't matter what he's talking about, because Trump is trying the same shit now, talking about how great the stock market is. And I got a friend of mine that is, wealthier, and he talks about purchasing gold, and that stuff is irrelevant to the average working American. So, yeah, perception is reality. It doesn't matter how great they tell you something is, or in Biden's case, how secure the border is. If people see caravans and people laying all around in their cities and shit like that, for them, the reality is the border is wide open.
Again, Tim, so by that logic, when they look at the economy today and they tell themselves it's better when it's not.
Yeah.
So I'm using the same fucking logic.
And it's working.
But here's again. So what does that say about the people? Because it is what it is. If you're saying the facts don't matter when Biden was in office, and now you're saying the facts don't matter when Trump is in office, what does it say about the people?
Let me just ask you something. Let me tell you something, Mike. I'm going to answer you. I'm going to answer you, but I'm going to give you a memento. I remember being a young lad, and you go outside and you're playing ball. I remember somebody threw a fastball to me, and I missed it, and the ball struck me on the side of the head. Ended up getting a hickey and all of that shit. Went in the house crying. My mom gave me a kiss on that boo-boo. It felt better. It's just that mom put her hands on my head. The pain was still there. Felt the same. It was still throbbing the way it did outside playing baseball. But because mom touched me, I felt. Fact is, whether we're talking the economy, whether we're talking the border, whatever the case may be, if Trump touches it, for MAGA, it's just like when my mom put her hand on my head. It's the same thing. The pain was still there from when I was on the baseball field, but now I'm at home. Mom is touching it. It feels better. The same economy. It could be the same border, whatever the case may be. But now you're in the house and Trump is putting his hand on it. It feels better. The perception is it's better.
Again, first of all, it looks like the swelling ain't gone down. I don't know what kind of baseball you got hit with. You still look a little swollen right over there. That's number one. You set yourself up for that one. But number two, did your mother tell you this is going to make it feel better?
I don't know if she used those words.
I'm using your analogies, bro.
I don't know if she used those words. I don't know if she used those words specifically, but I knew by electing my mom, my head economy was going to improve. I was expecting
when you went back outside, that shit was still hurting, wasn't it?
But it's my mom.
So here's what I'm going to use. I'm going to use your analogy. So you knew the truth, regardless of what she did. You understood that it made you feel better, but that shit still hurt.
Yeah, but I just
perfect. But MAGA won't even do that, Tim. They won't admit that it still hurts. They just only acknowledge the kiss. That's what I'm telling you. Wow. Yes, you see how I blew your shit back up in your face like that? I appreciate that.
I think you did a good job. You did a good job. But that's the point I'm making is perception is reality.
But I understand. But you can't combat that when we're having these discussions because those are feelings. When they think the economy's bad under Biden, and it wasn't what they said. The border wasn't what he told them. The border wasn't what they said. They can't prove to you that caravans of people came across the border. And they talk about
they can. There's photos of that, Mike.
I know. There's photos, but a lot of those photos were from 10 years prior to that. And I know that they used a lot of imagery that had nothing to do with the border with Biden. You and I both know that.
You know what I'm going to say in Trump's favor? Something he's still doing to this day. He talked he talked to the people more. I mean, if Biden had came out there and was actually upfront about a lot of things we're talking, because Biden, there are some areas where Biden took a bad rap. And it's simply put because he left the narrative up to the Republicans and Trump. And anytime only one person is in your ear, they're going to get all your empathy and understanding. The other person ain't there. Like Trump, today he just had another press conference, obviously opening the government up. He talks to the people significantly more than Biden has. And that actually works in his favor.
It works for the dumb motherfuckers. Just because you're talking more doesn't mean that you're a better person or you're better at what you're talking about.
I think it works.
Let me give you an example. MAGA Reacts comes on your show every fucking day. He talks every single day. You bring him up and he talks. You can't sit here with a straight face and tell me he talks and comes up every day, which means he knows what the fuck he's talking about when he comes up here.
Well, the man has a lot to say.
Well, exactly. That's my point. Just because you're talking doesn't mean you know what the fuck you're talking about.
No, but if you got an audience of people that believe you, it helps. And real quick in the comments, Joseph Miller says, MAGA Reacts loves being an asshat. Also, didn't Trump admit he lost? He did admit he lost. He actually did, but he obviously has backtracked on that several times, but he did admit that once or twice. He has admitted that. But listen, do you not agree, though, Mike, that there is validity or there is power in talking to the people, even if it ain't true, but getting out there and talking to the people?
Well, clearly it works, which is sad. I mean, if you really think about it, yeah, it works, and it's sad, and it tells a lot about the history in this country where Donald Trump said it. The one thing he loves the poorly educated, because he knows he can tell them things in 3 or 4 words and they run off with the shit. He's the first president with the slogan like he has, right? Since the 30s, but we know that. Anyway, I mean, since Ronald Reagan.
Yeah,
so at the end of the day,
but wait a minute. What is wrong with the slogan? You want to make America great. Is there anything wrong with that? That actually sounds quite promising.
Yeah, until you look at the history and the origin of where it came from.
Yeah, but maybe he's not trying to take us back to 1930s Germany, you don't think, do you?
Sure he is. I told you all the 14 tenets of fascism. He checks every box, and he just spoke about one on TV about the elections. How much more of this do you want to actually ignore before you say it is what it is? And here's the thing, Tim. I'm going to say this. We talk about, he's already showed us Minnesota wasn't about immigration. It was about the voting rolls.
Yes.
Right? We can say that, right?
We can agree with that when he started talking about voter rolls. Yeah, we can agree with that.
Can we agree that Venezuela wasn't about boats? It was about the oil because he told us.
I ain't got the oil, so yeah.
Heard shit. Exactly. So my point is, and if you go to Project 2025 and look at page 174, when they start talking about the Western Hemisphere, everything he's doing, every one of those countries is listed right there. Just all you gotta do is just go and read it.
That's a hell of a receipt when you come on here with the motherfucking page number, Mike. God damn. Are you in court?
I mean,
shit.
Again,
that's respectable.
But all it is I just 174 through 189 or something like that. But here's another thing. Speaking about receipts, I'm gonna leave it here.
Oh my God.
This is shit I be talking about.
Okay.
When MAGA Rax is talking about the election, what he failed to acknowledge or tell you, and again, if you admit that you lost, any action you do after that to find evidence of fraud that says you won is all bogus. Would you agree with me?
I would agree with you. I'm just going to say this. The excuses of the 2020 election are insane. I mean, the fact is there's not a Republican governor that suggests Trump won. I don't think there may be one, but almost all of the Republican governors during that time say he lost. The Republican senators, just about all of them say he lost. The Republicans in Congress, maybe Matt Gaetz or Marjorie Taylor Greene, but for the most part, most of the Republican congressmen, even the ones that won and lost that year, they all, I mean, like most of your own party in DC suggests you lost. Why would they, who would all been in power for another term, even is there anyone that served on his first administration, Scaramucci, Omarosa, Spicer, any of them folks that suggest he won that election? I mean, your own administration, all of them say you lost. So it makes no sense at this point for one guy to be able to say he won, and all of these other people saying he lost, they're all wrong and you're right. I don't know how it works, but it works well for Trump. Last word to you.
Well, yep, and the same part. I said they didn't know people investigate. Yes, you idiot, MAGA reacts. Yes, it was investigated. And if you go back and watch the depositions of a lot of the people that Tim just named, you'll hear them say it.
Yeah.
Not
to mention, if the investigation was done so improper, you should have a lot more Republicans on his administration and throughout the Senate and Congress saying that the investigation was improper. All of them seem to think that it was enough done, and based on what you said, we don't need to look in this anymore. I mean, if it was that much of an improper investigation, you would have a lot more people in D.C. and on his own administration complaining about it. That speaks volumes.
Exactly. And the fact that, and by the way, just so we know, percentage of fraudulent votes per election is it's like 0.00008%. We're talking about over the last 50 years of detected voter fraud. Like, Tim, it's not even again, the idea that we're having these conversations with people like MAGA Racks and Big Boss that just go read. It's easy to find. I can pull it up on my computer and show you right now where Trump said on November 13th, he knew he lost. Yeah. I can show you that.
And that would have to be explained too. Some reporters should ask him that when he's up there talking about how he won by a landslide. They should why somebody should ask him that. Why on November 13th did you say you lost? I mean, if you won, why has your messaging been so inconsistent? He would probably call you fake news or something, but I mean, he is on tape admitting he lost.
He was actually asked, and it wasn't the specific date. That's when he said, "Yeah, we lost by a whisker." If you remember, Tim.
Yep, I remember. We did a show on it. I do remember.
It's not like he hasn't said it, but his supporters know that he said it and go, "Well, it was still a fraudulent election," even though this man said that. And now, let me tell you last thing. I'm gonna land my plane here. Not only did he know that he lost at the ellipse, nobody had a problem with them going to the ellipse and protest. That wasn't the issue. It was what they knew was happening at the ellipse when people showed up with pew-pews and they went around the metal detectors at the ellipse. You know what I'm telling you.
I know what you're talking about. The cap, yeah, the building.
And when they told him there were people there with pew-pews,
he said they're not here for me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So we have enough evidence. Now, the fact that they want their mama to kiss them on their boo-boo and tell them it don't hurt no more, but they know it still hurts and they don't want to admit it, that's just who the fuck they are.
I'll leave it at that, Mike.
But you should put some ice on that, though, because it still look a little swollen.
Oh, my God. All right. Mike, always a pleasure. Good conversation.
Later.
Plenty of receipts. Wow. You go to church, the pastor knows what the sermon is. He open up your Bibles to it. He gives you the book. Mike is good. Mr. G says, shouldn't motto every president after one not shitty person. Well, I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm not gonna run with that. Real quick in the comments, MAGA Reacts also says that President Trump admitted he lost, and he states that was for argument's sake. Oh shit! I mean, if you're just gonna be saying things for the sake of saying it, you're really ruining your credibility. Now, MAGA Reacts, when you came up, you admitted President Trump had no reason to say he won by a landslide. Now you're saying there was no reason to say he lost. I mean, like shit. At what point does your credibility go to shit? You're on record saying you won by a landslide, and you're on record saying you lost the same election. At some point, it does become laughable. If you think you won, stick with the fact you won and be consistent about it. Well, I just decided to say I lost for argument's sake. Really? And I see in the comments, Deuce says they wouldn't believe Jesus. I don't know if that's the case, but I will say that Trump has an it factor like no one else. This is why I keep suggesting, and tap the screen, by the way, get us on up to 80,000. We can make that happen. Let your thumbs not be lazy. By the way, folks, if you favor open dialogue from all sides of the aisle, that's the type of program we run here. We don't block, ban, or censor anybody. You can be critical of anybody on this program, including yours truly. We're MAGA friendly. We're going to stay that way. Always have been, always will be. If you favor this type of programming, Feel free to follow the program if you're watching on TikTok, Facebook, or Instagram. Give your boy a sub if you're watching on YouTube. Subscribe to the program. By the way, it helps out the algorithm if you smash that like button. For my YouTube viewers, do so. Help your boy out. Smash the like button. Doesn't cost you a cent to do that. Smash that like button. Biden and Trump are two different styles. That is absolutely true. I mean, they're on different sides of the party, but Biden is a traditional politician. Trump is something we've never seen before. I mean, so big difference between Biden and Trump. Big difference between Trump and everybody. Trump and Reagan, Trump and Bush, Trump and Nixon, Trump and you name it. Trump is different than every politician we've ever had. I mean, for instance, how many presidents will get a judicial order and just say, fuck it, I'm not going to do what the judge said do? That ain't something you've normally had. I mean, so, which also is concerning because in the 2020 election, I mean, yeah, but in the midterms coming up in 2026, that's likely to become an issue as the Trump administration starts trying to, as he says, nationalize the election, doing things that the judges and courts may go against. If he just says, fuck the courts, I'm going to do it anyway, like ICE has been doing, putting people on deportation flights and, you know, a lot of things that ICE has been doing. They've been told you can't do this by a court of law. And fuck it, we're going to do it anyway. So I don't know if we've ever had another president that just says, fuck the law, I'm going to do what I want to do. So that could be something to be on the lookout for in the near future. By the way, tap the screen, get us up to 80,000. Looking in the comments, Y Rug says, get the fuck out of here. Well, unfortunately, we got another few moments of a show to run here. Lots of brainwashed haters in here. Yikes. Check out the Panama Papers. Yes, we've absolutely had presidents that said, fuck the law. Okay, are you happy to have one now? Let me know. Is it good to have another one in there? You're kind of guy, says Billy Webb. Okay, I don't know what you mean by that. Because presidents follow the law, dictators don't, says Fertigreat. Yikes. Good afternoon, Damian Davis in the comments there. Appreciate your input and your support of the program. Tariffs will raise 5.2 trillion in new revenue over the next 10 years. Even after accounting for reduced import demand due to higher prices. Look, I'm no financial analyst, but the idea that tariffs are going to raise $5.2 trillion in only a decade, I'm just going to say this. Why are none of the financial analysts agreeing with that? Even the Charles Paynes of Fox News say that's not true. And you don't hear financial analysts suggest that we can just tariff our way to glory. You kind of wonder if we could, why we haven't done it already. You think Trump's the first president that is financially oriented? I don't think that 5.2 trillion number is going to happen. I just go on record and say that. I think that either they're going to impose reciprocal tariffs on us so that we end up paying those tariffs, or some countries are just going to find other people to trade with, leading us to lose that relationship altogether. But the idea you're going to just tariff your way to glory, we can just increase the tariff by 40, 50, 60% on this country. Ain't shit they can do about it. That's kind of the way Trump has been operating. We can just get rid of Maduro. Ain't nothing Venezuela can do about it. We can just take over Greenland. Ain't nothing they can do about it. Well, some countries have shown we can do something about it, such as Greenland. Canada is now doing business with China. So Trump's tariffs, in terms of his Canadian-Chinese relationship he's created, has essentially made China a wealthier country. They've picked up a lot of our business. I believe Brazil has also picked up a lot of soybean business because of that. So everybody ain't just going to pay the higher tariff. Some folks just say, fuck it, the relationship is over with. I found somebody else that's not going to charge me the same what you're doing. Or they're not going to treat me the same way you're treating me. Or, look, when I was dealing with the United States, you guys were charging a tariff that gave me an advantage. I was paying you guys 5, 10, 20% less than everybody. Now that you've made your tariffs competitive, I don't see any reason to give you preferential treatment anymore. This other place is talking about giving me a discount. So I'm over. You're going to hurt the relationships. There's no doubt about that. So we'll see what ends up happening, though. Hump Cattings. Trump was named over 38,000 times in the Epstein files. In regards to him, his family and businesses, and you weirdos still support and believe him. I don't know about the weirdos comment, but I agree with the believe him comment. And before I go back to the box, simply put, there is no one on earth. Now, we can talk about God and Jesus, but on earth, another man that can convince MAGA that Trump is wrong and that person is right. I ask this question all the time to MAGA. Let's say Trump actually did something wrong, committed a genuine felony. And he was saying he didn't do it, like with Epstein or like with the election. He is saying, I didn't do it, they're lying on me. Let's say he actually was guilty, though, and he was saying he didn't do it. Who could tell you he's guilty and you would actually believe him? If he's saying he didn't do it, that's what we're going to go with. That's my opinion. If Trump is saying he didn't do something, MAGA's going to go with believing him. Think about who would tell you Trump committed a major crime, whether it's the Epstein files, the election, or something. It's going to be the Justice Department. It may be Homeland Security. It may be the NSA. It may be the CIA. Maybe the FBI. That's who would be responsible for telling you Trump did something. He can easily convince MAGA that the head of any of those organizations has been taken over by the deep state or working for the left, and they're lying on him. So the fact is simple. If Trump does something wrong and he's telling MAGA he didn't do it, there's nobody standing that can convince them otherwise. Unless you have actual 4K video that can be verified that it's not AI, it ain't going nowhere. And that's almost impossible to get. So there is essentially no one that can tell MAGA that Trump did something wrong and get them to believe it. And now in the comments, William says proof. Now with AI, you're not going to believe any witness. So anybody that says I was there and saw him doing it wrong, he's going to convince you that witness is lying. AI has made it so you can't even believe a lot of things you see on screen. Let me just say it this way. The bar of presenting proof to MAGA is so high, you would likely need to have an astronaut climb up and reach it. It is so, you're not going to, if he's saying he didn't do it, he didn't do it. There's nobody going to convince you otherwise. The bar of proving that Trump is guilty to MAGA is so high, you're just not going to achieve that. If you dislike Trump, you do not have to be here in the U.S., says Richard Amiris, I think it says. So in other words, if you don't like Trump, why the fuck are you in the United States? Your citizenship to this great nation is dependent on whether you like and respect President Trump. You don't like the guy, get the fuck out. He is that special, says Richard Ramirez. Anyway, looking in the comments, the Heritage Foundation uses Trump's popularity to get their agenda done. And he has some very strong popularity. Handsome, good evening, handsome conservative. God could come down from heaven and show them, and they still won't believe God. God is AI, Pooh Bear. Handsome conservative, good evening.
Hey, can you hear me?
Loud and clear, sir. Good to have you on.
All right, thanks for having me up.
So nationalizing
question.
Okay, you got a question for me?
No, I said go ahead and ask the question.
Nationalizing the elections, says President Trump, Republicans in control. What say you?
I think it's a good idea.
Explain.
However, and I want to say this, I don't care if it's the Democrats that do it or Trump does it. I don't care. I think it's a good idea to have it nationalized.
So if Obama was in there, or Kamala Harris or Biden, and they nationalized the election with Democrats in control, you believe that's a good idea?
Everybody but Kamala Harris. That woman is crazier than a pet coon.
What's wrong with Kamala Harris?
You know what bothers me about her is that she couldn't win the election when she ran on her own. She didn't win she got placed in as vice president. She didn't earn shit. And then when she did run, she tried to get all these celebrities to endorse her, and that didn't affect anything but get her kicked out even faster.
I agree with most of the part about she didn't win and thing, but the celebrities, I mean, Sylvester Stallone, Hulk Hogan, Kid Rock. I mean, you got Nicki Minaj is being paraded all over the country right now. I mean, both sides use celebrities.
Wait a minute. You brought up Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan stood with Trump, not Kamala.
Wait, what? No, what I'm saying is you're holding Kamala Harris accountable for using celebrities to support her. I'm saying that the right does the same thing.
Okay, well, I'll just say this. She did it to an extent that I noticed. Okay, normally I wouldn't have noticed it. Normally I listen to them bicker and fight on the stage, Republican and Democrat. But this time it was just different. There were so many, like Oprah, who gives a shit about her,
Well, let me just say this, Hanson Conservative. They're simply put, there's a lot more celebrities that favor the left than they do the right. I mean, so you're going to get a lot more because your policies are not, I mean, like there's a lot of LGBTQ and you guys are not big fans of, a lot of different ways of life. I mean, Muslims and all that. There's going to be a lot more celebrities that go left because you guys have a more restrictive way you believe people should live.
Well, if you stand for everything, you can't stand for anything. I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
Why can't you stand for just freedom of the individual?
I can see your point. It's just not the way I think.
I know that.
I'll give that to you. No, I'll give that to you. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Go ahead. But either way, I think that it should be nationalized. To get to your point, I think it should be nationalized.
What is wrong with it not being nationalized? What do you think makes it wrong when it's not?
I have been watching the elections since well before Reagan, and there is always a problem, whether it's the right or it's the left. There's always a problem. It needs to be fixed. I don't have the answers.
What kind of problem?
Fix it, but it needs to.
You say there's always a problem. First question I'm thinking is the problem validated or is it fabricated? Now, you said there's always a problem. I'm not aware that we actually have genuine problems in our. I know there was a problem with the Chads in 2000, Bush versus Gore, and then of course President Trump in 2020. There's been a lot of elections in my lifetime. I don't recall people really screaming out about problems in any other election. And of course, in President Trump's election, most of the stuff he was crying about has not even been proven to be valid at all. So when you say there's always a problem, problems like what? Give me some examples.
Okay, and I'm just using this as an example.
Sure.
I mean, I can't prove whether it's true or not.
Okay.
But I would turn on MSNBC, Fox News, CNN, just to see what they were talking about, what was going on during the elections. Not just this last one, but usually,
Okay.
And there's always this, there's uncounted ballots, there's ballots that's being found, and there's, it's just small stuff like that throughout several.
How would nationalize, I'm curious,
states.
how would nationalizing the election stop that?
I don't know, but I do know something needs to be done to fix that. We got to find a way to fix.
I'll tell you how you could fix it. I'll tell you how you could actually fix it. Technology has evolved to the point where they have face scanners and they have fingerprint scanners where it's far more difficult because right now the Trump administration is promoting you should have an ID to vote. Fake IDs go back as far as IDs themselves. You don't hear too many people faking out a face scanner or even a fingerprint scanner. You go down to your library to vote. There's a computer sitting there. You put your fingerprint on a screen. You stare into a camera for face recognition. That is your ID. That ID is actually more secure than the driver's license or whatever the piece of plastic you walked in on. To me, if you've done that,
Okay, but
go ahead.
okay, I apologize for interrupting.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. Go ahead.
Here's the problem with that. Democrats, and I've heard Democrats say this, okay, not all Democrats, but just, the ones in charge. I've heard Democrats say this. You shouldn't have to have an ID to vote.
Yeah.
Now, here's my problem. If you can't even agree to have an ID to vote, which would mean doing away with mail-in ballots, by the way, except for the armed services. If you can't agree to do an ID to vote, how in the hell are you going to get them agree to an eye scan and a fingerprint?
That's
You're going to have the problem of people coming up and saying, I couldn't vote because I couldn't make it in.
That's a good question. That's a good question, and we discussed that in the monologue. Fact is, and some conservative, all across the aisle, the belief is overwhelmingly favorable to requiring an ID. Even when the Republicans, the polls suggested 95% of Republicans favor requiring an ID to vote. I think it's about 70 some odd percent of Democrats. Even amongst Hispanics and African American Democrats, it's greater than 50%. So the idea that most Americans on the left don't want an ID, that's actually not true. You can find a few idiots to say no, you shouldn't have an ID, but overall, most Democrats agree with you. And that includes yours truly, because I don't see any reason for a full-grown adult to be complaining about not being able. An ID is so cheap and easy to get. To get a state ID, that's ridiculous to say you can't.
You understand that would do away with mail-in voting.
I'm not a fan of getting rid of mail-in voting. I would suggest, okay, if you want to require an ID, then that person has to send in a copy of a notarized or some kind of copy of their ID when they vote. I don't see.
But you just said that they needed a fingerprint and an eye scan. You can't have it both ways.
You actually can have that. You actually can have that equipment at your home if it's certified. Okay, we can send out this equipment to your home, and at a cost of whatever the case may be, or you have to send it back and there's a cost. Whatever. There are still ways of doing that. But to me, a fingerprint scanner,
That proves that I'm older than shit because I didn't know that. Yeah. But go ahead.
I mean, you could even have in your local area, if you got somebody a sworn election officer, if they want to volunteer, I'll drive up to your house. We got a government approved laptop, and it actually has the fingerprint scanner and face equipment on it. You can put that on a computer. This person is a sworn member of the election. So they're trustworthy. They come out to that voter's house. I mean, it doesn't take but 5-10 minutes.
Problem.
Yeah. What's the problem?
I see one problem, and this may or may not surprise you about me. And there are other people like me out there in the country. I don't own a computer.
You don't need one based on
as much as a laptop.
What I just said. You don't need a computer. I just said you could have volunteers in your community. If they are sworn polling officers. If you don't have a computer and you're disabled or something like that and you need to vote, we'll have a volunteer, a sworn officer, drive out to your house. They have a computer. They have the equipment. They'll come to your door and you can put your hand on the fingerprint scanner.
And there would be no way for them to see your vote, right? Your vote would be private. They couldn't look at who you voted for.
Yeah,
if that's the case, I'll go along with you.
Yeah.
If that's the case, but I'm just saying, Tim. I mean, with respect. We need something.
And I would also add because I see in the comments Bligdo P or something, I can't pronounce the name, but somebody made a good point. Your average iPhone can do this stuff. I mean, the facial recognition and the fingerprint scanner on the iPhone is so secure that ICE can't even get into that shit without you need that person. Your typical smartphone has fingerprint recognition and facial recognition already on it, and it's secure enough that they can't get in it. So yeah,
you want to know why You want to know why iPhone's secure? Because it's made in China.
Whatever the case may
There's nothing America about it.
Whatever the case may be, but the point I'm making is that is far more secure than requiring a plastic ID that anybody can print. The problem is, though, if you use fingerprint scanners and facial recognition, it would make it easier for people to vote because that equipment can. I don't think it's necessarily just about ID, Hanson conservative. I think the right don't want high voter turnout. So they're just trying to do different things here or there to make the turnout less. If there is a secure way, but more people are going to vote using that way, they're not a fan of it. I don't think it's about security. I think it's about limiting how many people vote.
Like I said to you before, it doesn't say Republican at the end of my name. It says conservative. I got conservative values. I like to think for myself, and you bring up a good point. All I'm saying is something needs to be changed, and if you're willing to meet me halfway on that, then I'm willing to do the same, 100%. You know, you bring up a good point.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna hand it to you.
Thank you. But here's one thing I really wish, because this is coming more from your side than the left. I really wish if there's so much concern of fraud that we could produce a lot more cases of fraud taking place. I'm not saying in a country of 350 million people, some people don't cheat, but nothing is going to be perfect. Even with all of the stringent ways they use to create money, there's still a few people that can make fake bills. I mean, if you're trying to have an election where 0 people cheat, you're going to be chasing that forever. But overall, I don't think there's widespread fraud happening in our elections. Otherwise, they would be proving it.
There is a way I know of, and don't ask me to get technical on it, but there is a way I do know that you can fake a fingerprint scan.
What do you want? You want a DNA sample?
No, I'm just saying there is a way that you can fake a. I'm not saying an eye.
How do you do that? How do you fake a fingerprint? How you take out?
I watched it. I watched it on CNN once. They were doing this documentary about how they take a photo of not a picture, but a kind of a photo of your fingerprint. And they put it on a person's finger and they place it on the scanner and it's reading the fingerprint that's been put on your, it's reading the other fingerprint, not yours.
Here, I'm not saying I don't believe that. Here's the problem though. When you think of the fact that it's a felony, you gonna do all that to cast one fake ballot, or are you gonna sit in the house doing that shit all day long? I mean, which each one of those is a felony, by the way.
Honestly, I agree with you. It's stupid. My point wasn't that it would happen. My point is it could happen. I mean, and again, it might not be right. It was on CNN, for crying out loud.
Yeah, but the point is only the most technologically savvy people have the know-how to do so. I've heard of putting Elmer's glue on somebody's finger and then lifting the Elmer's glue off, which contains your fingerprint. And if you put that over your thumb, now you can. I mean, I know there are some scams out there, but when you factor in it's a felony, and if you decide, I mean, if you're going to cheat, it makes no sense to only cheat and steal one vote. That ain't gonna. So you're gonna want to do this with a few hundred votes. Each one of them is a felony. You can literally put yourself in prison for the rest of your life. It might not even change the election.
Like I said, if you're willing to meet me halfway, do fingerprints and eye scans and shit like that, if you want to use the technology that's coming out to do that, hey, I'll meet you halfway.
I can even go one better for you. If you really want to be fraud proof, and I think this is ridiculous because I don't think this level of fraud happening, but even if you really want mail-in ballot, I'm going to send you a diabetes kit. You're going to prick yourself in the finger, take the little stick, send that stick in so we can get the DNA test off your blood to make sure it's you. I mean, if you really want to go down there, I don't think there's fraud to this level, though. I think it's insane. I really think it's insane because I don't think it's fraud to that level, but if they really want to make it perfect, I suppose you could at that level, at the DNA level.
Well, I think you might be taking me a little too far down the rabbit hole. I'm just saying, if you want to do what you suggested, I'm okay with that. Now, I mean that's meeting somebody halfway. I'm willing to do that, but something does need to be done, and I think you know that too. At some level,
I'm okay with something being done. I disagree on it needs to be done. I just don't believe there is that many people cheating in elections. But I'm willing to, as you say, meet you halfway. I'm willing to satisfy the right by doing a little extra. Do I think it's necessary? No, I don't think it's that many people cheating.
Well, can you explain to me then? You tell me if I'm wrong, because I've seen it on Fox. I've seen it on MSNBC. I've seen it on CNN. I have seen tons of ballots being found. I have seen tons of people being arrested for trying to fill out other people's forms for them. And I've saw that on national news. So clearly there is a problem, or every news station is lying.
You've seen as you say, tons of people being arrested for filling out ballots on CNN and MSNBC. On CNN and MSNBC, you saw that?
And on Fox News, they all play the same clips. They all play the same clips, and they give you a different take on it, but they all play the same clips. Every one of them. A news channel is a news channel.
I'm just going to go on record and say I have not even seen a clip of what you're talking about. Even on Fox, I haven't seen tons of people. Look, they make, just like with Lincoln Riley, people believe there are tons of illegals murdering and killing people all over the place, but yet they keep only naming Lincoln Riley for the most part, or maybe the girl on the train in South Carolina, but it ain't happening to this astronomical level. They're using one case to blow it up, and the same thing with election fraud. I haven't seen the tons you're talking about.
I'm not accusing California or another Democratic city. I'm just saying I've seen it played on a news channel. Okay. So I mean, I'm telling you, the footage is out there. But I've seen it played on more than one news channel. It's the same clip that they're just passing back and forth.
I can't speak on it. I will tell you this, though. I will also say this. If there is a way to cheat, the idea that only liberals are going to do it is crazy. Because you hear the Trump administration talking about people cheating. You notice you only hear them talking about Democrats. If Democrats can find a way to cheat and steal an election, you think there is no Republican in the country of 300 plus million people that's going to try it? So the idea that you're only finding Democrats, to me alone, says that what you're doing is not right.
Again, it says conservative right by my name. I will be the first to agree with you that if a Democrat can do it, a Republican probably has done it too. Yeah. We're not that far apart. I do agree with a lot of things you say, except Kamala for president.
Well, that's not going to happen. I got to move it on conservative, but I don't think you got to worry about that happening ever. I don't think that's ever going to happen. So you're in the clear.
Okay, but before I go, I've got to say it. Support your local liberal. They need the money, especially after Gangsta Grandma.
Well, Gangsta ain't came up yet. All right. Thank you, conservative, by the way. Appreciate you coming through. By the way, folks, tap the screen. Get us on up to 100. HUNNIT 120. Help your boy out with the TikTok cap goal. I haven't solicited that. Help your boy out, support the program. You know what we always say. No woman for president ever, says Gen X. I don't understand why so many folks on the right believe that a woman, any woman, we're not talking about Kamala Harris, but any woman should be president. Why do so many people on the right believe that? Do you think a conservative would support the Constitution? That's what they say. They say they support, because I support my local conservative, but they're on welfare already. Yikes. They don't need the money. They want the money. Everybody wants money. One isn't too many. Come on, man. 200 million. Look, like I said, when it comes to election fraud, if it was a ton of people, you'd hear them. I mean, you would see Trump on TV with cheats, talking about this guy cheated, this guy cheated. I mean, we're talking Lincoln Riley. How long have we been talking about Lincoln Riley? When did that happen? 2-3 years ago at this point. Trump is known for exaggerating stuff. That's the best way I can put it. Trump is known for taking something. Anytime Trump gives you numbers, if those numbers benefit him, expect those numbers to be exaggerated greater than what they are. Let's say, for instance, it was fraud in the 2020 election, which was close. And let's say he actually won. Well, he says he won by a landslide. He don't just say he won by a landslide. I mean, so you're going to get exaggeration from President Trump. So you have to take any numerical data from Trump with a grain of salt, because he does exaggerate. Louis Miguel says, you mean lie, not exaggerate. Portia Mac 68, appreciate the hat and mustache. Yeah. A few of you guys out there showing the program some love. Thank you very much. Look at it in the comments. I've joined your fan club. Thank you, DJ Shake. The poorest states are Republican states. If they was good, why are they the poorest states? That's a legitimate point. Republicans focus on crime and nothing else. When you hear Republicans talk, it's always about how bad how poorly run Democrat cities are. Notice you don't hear them celebrating anything about Republican cities. Okay, if the Democrats are running their cities so bad, name a few of yours that are being ran well. They don't talk about those. They'll give you a few states. Well, Florida's doing all right. Blue one with the galaxy. Thank you. Thank you. Shout out to you. Appreciate that. Showing the boys some love. Appreciate that, Blue one banks. You don't hear Republicans bragging about how well their cities are ran at all. Thank you, C. Osby. At all. So they're just criticizing the left, but they're not celebrating the right. Okay, if you're doing a better job, as one of my viewers said, why aren't you bragging about how well your cities are ran? But as I said, they focus on crime and essentially nothing else. They don't focus on poverty, because Republican cities, as the viewer pointed out, are going to be on the bottom. They don't focus on things like infant mortality rate, even though that's still people dying. You don't have to get shot to die. There are other ways to die. The infant mortality rate is higher in Republican cities. Food insecurity, all of that stuff is higher in Republican areas. They don't. So to make the point, let's just focus on crime, because that's higher in Democrat cities. But all the shit that's higher in our cities, we just won't talk about that stuff. Go figure. Anyway, looking in the comments, why you got a Trump hat behind you? Asked Hydrus. Because I do believe Republicans, conservatives, and particularly MAGA don't always get a fair shake in the media. You start talking about your MAGA, and a lot of people start tuning out, block banning, and censoring. Now that's changing, but that's the way it's been since Trump came down the escalator in 2015. So the reason we have the MAGA hat behind us is to let you know, regardless of the program, regardless of where the conversation goes, left or right or indifferent, you're always among those who are going to let you speak here. We're all about free speech here. This is a MAGA-friendly program. We're not going to censor you because of your opinion. It can be totally different than everybody else's. We're still going to let you speak in your entirety, not limit your time or any of that, because you got a difference of opinion. It's looking in the comments. Are you a Trump supporter? No, I did not support President Trump, even though I did not think he did a bad job in his first term, plus or minus the pandemic. But the moment he started running for re-election and he started talking about giving cops immunity in liberal cities, nothing else mattered. It really didn't. It's like you're running for office and you start talking about gun laws for the right. At that point, the economy, nothing else you say matters. It's just womp, 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 womp. Once you start talking about taking away people's guns, the rest of the conversation is irrelevant. Once he started talking about giving cops immunity in liberal cities, the rest of the conversation was irrelevant. And there have it. Looking at the comments, we need a constitution. Whoa, Ginger. Thank you, Wilkins, Ginger Wilkins. We need a constitutional amendment to roll back congressional, Senate, and representative salaries by 50% until the national debt is erased. Here's the problem, though. In corporate America, we say if we try to limit CEO pay, if we try to limit how much the medical industry can make, it'll stifle innovation. They won't come up with as many cures and things like that. Why do you believe if you roll back how much the Senate and Congress are making, why doesn't the same mindset apply and suggest, oh, you're not going to find really good politicians as much? They make a ton of money in the private sector. If you're going to say that they shouldn't have health care that's any better than ours, they shouldn't get a pension, and you start cutting off all kinds of shit, then they'll just stay in the private sector. Why would they come do a dangerous job where they could go out like Gabby Giffords or Ilhan Omar had somebody throw some? Why would you go do that if they ain't paying you shit? Travelman, one of my subs. Good evening. Welcome to the program. How many cures have they come up with, Tim? Bunches. Smallpox, syphilis, various cancers now, as long as bunches. There's a bunch of shit that's been cured. Humans just can die of a lot of shit. There's a whole lot of stuff that is preventative now, where you don't have to die if you just simply follow their orders. Travelman, good evening. Travelman.
Tim, what's going on, bro?
I'm in the trenches, man. You know how it is. I mean, the president talking about nationalizing the elections. What say you?
Hey, first of all, it's been a long time since we talked, and based on what Michael was saying, I can see that hickey. Okay.
What about saying this so far? You gotta elaborate on that. What am I saying? What am I missing? Where am I missing the boat?
About Trump?
Yeah.
Or the hickey?
Well, the hickey means I got hit on the head and I'm missing something. Listen.
Hey, man, but look here. Bruh, what the hell is going on? Okay?
Well,
number one, that's in the Constitution. Okay? That's number one. Number two.
Constitution may have gotten it wrong there, Travelman. Maybe the Constitution's gotten something wrong.
Hey, they go by the Constitution for everything else unless it don't fit their need. Now, my question to that is, okay, I'm assuming that most of these states he want to go in the nationalized election or Democratic states.
Most?
Okay. So
all of them. Yeah, all.
Okay. Now, I'm trying to picture him or whoever the hell it is going to J.D. Pritzker saying we're going to take over your election. Or Kathy Hochul. You see what I'm saying?
Wait, repeat that?
They have to go into the state, right?
Repeat.
If they want to take over the election.
Well, yeah. I mean, he was saying like Tulsi Gabbard. I mean, he was send one of them in there, yeah.
Okay, now, can you imagine them going down to Springfield and telling JB, we taking over your election?
Yeah, I can't imagine them doing it. It'll be protests.
And can you imagine him telling them to get the fuck out of my state?
No, he gonna show up deep. He gonna show up just like in Minnesota. They show up deep. So you can say, I mean, is that not what Mayor Fry of Minneapolis said? I just get the fuck out of Minneapolis. They didn't leave. They ain't gone nowhere.
When they showed up deep in Illinois, what happened?
They still were able to accomplish their mission. I mean, ain't no Ice Agents lost their.
They also got ran the hell out of Chicago too. They also shot that lady 5 times and then got caught in a lie.
Well, we know they lying, but in terms of getting ran out of Chicago, if Trump sent 3,000 ICE agents to Chicago like he did Minneapolis, they would still be there. If he wanted them to be there,
it'll be a riot. It'll be a riot.
Maybe he wants to riot
because they would, if they go. Maybe I'm looking at it wrong, but if they went into Chicago or Detroit doing the stuff that they're doing, you don't think it would be some serious pushback?
I'm not for sure, Travelman. I would have said yes a year ago, but look, there's a lot of armed people in Minneapolis. I'm not going to pretend like there's no firearms in Minneapolis. I mean, if you send enough soldiers into one area and they're as aggressive as ICE is, I mean, ICE is not just doing their job. Their method of operation is to literally fuck with people. I mean, they are, and they're doing it with guns and shit. Yep. I mean, I think they could do that in any major American city. I just think a lot of people think, well, we all got guns. No, you say that until it starts happening. If you get surrounded by 30, 40 dudes and they all got it, ARs and carbines and shit like that, don't matter what you got. I mean, these people will kill you at the drop of a hat.
But then they gonna shoot back. What's gonna happen then?
You don't
think people gonna defend themselves?
I don't think America. I don't think people are that I don't think people are that united, is what I'm saying. If ISIS
go about being united, I'm talking about defending yourself. If you think that they're out of control and what they're doing is wrong, but anyway,
hold on. If you're not united, then it's just you defending yourself against dozens of people.
Well, let me rephrase that. There would be a resistance. And they would unite. You would have some unite, just like they got up in Minneapolis.
Then they would just upgrade. If you unite and create some kind of Red Dawn like resistance in this day and age of technology, the Trump administration would just up what weapons they're using against you. Drones doing shit from just like Black Wall Street. Hold on.
See, this is the problem.
There was before you said, let me just say this. During Black Wall Street, where they wanted to take over an African-American area in Tulsa, those African-Americans back in the 20s were fighting back. They had weapons and everything. They went out and got military aircraft and shit and just started hitting them from the air.
That's the only time a bomb been dropped in the United States.
I'm just telling you.
All right.
Well, Trump would have a do-over. He would start doing that.
But see, this is the thing, bro. This is not 1921. That's my only point. See, my thing is this. To me, it's like you guys give these people too much power. You know,
I'm judging.
If they do come in there, initially, people might be overwhelmed initially. But then when people see what they're doing and then they start getting their footing, then they're going to start hitting back. That's my point. That's it.
I want your point to be accurate. I really do. But what I'm seeing on the ground, in my opinion, they've been told the best way to prevent them from resisting is you hit them first and you hit hard. You make it clear that anybody who steps out of line is going to get fucked up or may even lose their life. That will subdue the crowd. And in Minnesota, that appears to be working.
Trump, come on, man. Tim, the way they protesting up there, they've killed people. They're snatching people out the street, and you got thousands and thousands and thousands of people, Minnesotans, thousands and thousands out there in damn minus 21 degree weather protesting.
Yeah. Protesting.
And not only that, because of what they're doing up there is also going to result in changes. Now, let's move on, because we can sit here and debate this the whole time.
I want you to be right, though. I'm just saying, I think that if you... I mean, we as Americans have went into other armed countries and was able to basically subdue them by just overwhelming force. I mean, we went house to house in Iraq, and most of us came home.
But they're limited, bruh. They're limited. Okay, to me anyway. They're limited.
How limited? How?
I just feel because they put 3,000. They put 3,000 in Chicago. Mm-hmm. Okay, what's going to happen when the people start going against them?
You put 8,000.
They going to call the National Guard?
Yes, with Trump. Yes,
now you gotta deal with the state again because it's already been ruled by the courts that they cannot have the National Guard in there.
Let me just say it like this, and I know my MAGA folks are going to be nodding, and my liberals are going to be like, "What the fuck?" But if the folks in Chicago or in Detroit, as you said, started fighting back with ICE and they started taking down ICE. And Trump got on television and said, I need some able, willing patriots to go to New York or better yet, Detroit or go to Chicago and help out our boys. I need some patriots. Can I get some patriots? You realize how many fucking pickup trucks with armed drivers would be in those towns? It would swell up.
Okay, and let me ask you this. When he go in there and do that, you're going to have the other side saying, hey, we got all these redneck yahoos coming up in here to take over our city. We need some help. Hey, Detroit. Hey, St. Louis. Hey, Cleveland. We need some help up in here. Who you think coming?
Yeah, but the problem is to get from but the problem is to get from hold on. Well, yeah, I agree with the civil part of it, but the issue is to get to Detroit or to get to Chicago from St. Louis or some of these other cities. You got to drive through hundreds of miles of MAGA country to do that. All of that shit in between is MAGA country.
They're going to Chicago. They're going to be going to Chicago.
I don't know. Hey, I'm telling you.
Hold on a minute. Not all the MAGA is on now. Remember that. Not all the MAGA on. Okay. Well, anyway, okay, so back on the nationalization part.
All right.
Nope, that ain't gonna happen. He can talk, Trump talk a lot of crazy shit. He might try it, but it's not gonna happen. But let me ask you this though. You remember, how old are you, Tim?
In my early 50s.
Okay, so you might not remember that. Okay, so back in the late 60s and during the early to mid 70s, right? The FBI and the CIA was out of control.
Okay.
COINTELPRO, all that bullshit the FBI was doing, J. Edgar Hoover running around with garter belts on and shit, they were just out of control.
Okay.
And then Congress came in and they put all the restrictions on those. A lot of the restrictions on the CIA came about in the 70s. Same thing with the FBI. And so you got ISIS under the microscope, and you got, some powerful people saying, hey, something needs to be done. I would not be surprised if the next Congress or sometime soon, some restrictions get put on ICE as far as operating on within the country.
While under the Trump administration?
Congress gonna do it. And now, it may not. Now Trump will probably veto it, but I can guarantee you, if you get a Democratic president in there, and the Dems have the House or the Senate, they gonna pass that bill.
Oh yeah, I believe that. I can see. I mean, once the Democrats get power, they would change a lot. I agree with that.
Check this out. So the two guys that pew-pewed Predit, right? They were from the southern border. Okay. Let me tell you about the southern border, Tim. So that means they either came out of Laredo, Farr,
El Paso,
McAllen, Hidalgo. That's the southern border, right?
Okay.
That's the Wild Wild West. They buck wild down there. Okay. I was mentioned to say 75% of Border Patrol is probably prior military, right? And out of that 75%, I would bet you probably 70% of those guys are former infantry guys. So they off the chain anyway. So what they do down on the southern border, they crack heads. They do stuff to people out in the desert. If you're down there, you read about it all the time and hear about it all the time. I saw it myself. Okay, now they're taking those same guys and they're moving them to the interior of the country. Border Patrol is not supposed to be less than more than 100 miles from the border, and there's a reason. They do not have the necessary training or skill set to be where they're at. Yeah. And as a result, this is what we get where they act like the shit they doing up there, rolling up on people and don't say who they are. That's what they do on the southern border.
I don't disagree with you, but I think when it comes to how ICE and Border Patrol are behaving in Minnesota, because a lot of folks say, well, ICE is all over the country. Why is it so bad in Minnesota? I believe that's their mission statement. I used this last time on the live when somebody asked me, why is it worse in Minnesota considering ICE is everywhere? And I said, being from Chicago has a lot of bad citizens in it. So a lot of the neighboring suburbs do not want Chicago citizens driving through their suburbs. So there are some suburbs where, if you drive through, folks who are from Chicago might know Oak Park, for instance. If you drive through some suburbs, the police are going to fuck with you more because that's their mission statement. We need to keep our property value and shit the right way. Don't let too many of these Chicago. So I believe that with the ICE in Minnesota, their mission statement was, we're going to go here and we're going to make sure that these liberals know that they need to stay in line. They were, as opposed to when they were sent them to Memphis. In Memphis, listen, the governor's a friend of the president. These are good people. These Tennesseans are good people. Don't you guys get out of line and do nothing stupid. Do your damn job while you're here, but you cross your T's and you dot your I's. You stay in your P's and Q's. In Minnesota, they're not told that. These blue-haired liberals in Minnesota, I believe they were told, feel free to, if anybody steps out of line, to handle your business.
Damn, that's why they sent 3,000.
Yeah.
Look at the number.
Yeah.
They went there with 3,000 people to create chaos.
Yeah. And a lot of people seem to think the reason things are getting so bad in Minnesota is because the citizens are out of control. No, I believe the police force they sent there are a lot more aggressive.
You know what? And so people say, well, why are we getting this kind of reaction, right? And you go on some of the other lives and they talk about, do you stand with ICE? Okay, it's like, I stand with ICE. I just don't agree with the tactics that they're using, right? But to MAGA, if you don't agree with the tactics, then you're against ICE.
Yeah.
You see, that's what happened when you suffer from head up Trump's ass syndrome. You can't deal with reality. Okay, that's just all it is.
That is their point of view. Go ahead.
So now, what we're seeing, because we've been deporting people forever. This is not new. This is not new. What's new is the tactics that they're using.
Yep.
And so therefore, now you're getting the pushback.
Yeah. And that's what I said.
If they go into another city doing that, Tim, they're going to get the same pushback.
Yeah. They sent law enforcement to Memphis, to Louisiana. They sent goons to Minnesota. In the comments, Paul Lacey 89 says, I left TikTok for good over the new terms of service. Fuck Donald Trump. So there's a TikTok user that's gone. Thank you, Paul Lacey. But yeah, they sent goons to Minnesota. They sent law enforcement to those other cities.
Yeah. Hey, did you see that hearing they had today? And the Democrats had a hearing and they brought in people, because MAGA swear up and down that people are not being.
Yeah, if you just comply, you will be okay.
Yeah. Tim, they had a hearing today. I only heard like 2 or 3 people. I was sitting there, man, and I was amazed. The one guy said they blocked him in. You know how they do. They were put in front of 4 guys jumped out the truck. Nobody said anything about who they were, no rights or nothing. Just they jumped out the truck with the guns drawn, telling them to get out the car. Then they smashed the windows.
I mean, there's enough video footage out there to know that just complying is not going to look. If you staring at one too long, or you pull out your phone and film them, that I keep saying this every night, that you need to view MAGA as for the most part, as an unstable grenade. You don't actually need to fuck with it for it to go off. I mean, if they see you standing on a corner and they feel that they want to come over and fuck with you, they will do that.
I mean, you can't fix stuck on stupid. You can't fix it.
I don't think MAGA's stupid. I think they're denying it just to fuck with the left. I think MAGA knows that them folks are goons, but because they're doing what MAGA wants them to do.
Exactly. But let me ask you a question.
Sure.
And this is something that Trump says all the time. Trump was a big liar, right? Everybody knows he's a pathological liar. And one of his main storylines is, and he said it today when he had the press conference, they let everybody out. They emptied the mental hospitals. They emptied the jails. They sent all the murderers and rapists and killers and all that. They sent all that up to the country. And nobody ever says, Mr. President, where's your proof of that? Because MAGA repeats the same damn line.
MAGA does repeat that.
Nobody can ever come up with anything.
MAGA does repeat that, but the reason people don't challenge Trump on that is because he's going to insult you and say all kinds of awful shit about you on the spot. So if you're in the Oval Office and he says something like that, and you go, well, sir, you've been saying for several years now, Mr. President, that they've emptied the asylums in prison. Could you give us some evidence or the name of a prison? He gonna start calling you fake news and really insulting the hell out of you. You may not get invited back, which is a privilege to be invited to those press conferences. So it makes people stand down.
And MAGA just spew shit out. If Trump say something, you'll hear the same thing from MAGA that night. I had a guy say, they got that app that you can use to deport out of the country. And what did he say? Oh. And they'll buy you a plane ticket. No. When Biden had the app where you can use to schedule your appointment to come in, the CBP one.
Okay.
You schedule it, right? This dude they had all that stuff set up, and they were even giving people plane tickets to fly into the country. And I'm sitting there saying to myself, you can't be that damn stupid.
Well, people were saying that stuff under Trump. I mean, from the Trump administration to make Biden look bad. And there's no shortage of people that believed it. I mean, people did believe that stuff. So here we go. I got to move it on. Go ahead.
We're in bad shape. As a country.
3 more years. What do you think? We can't survive Trump 3 more years?
We're going to survive it, but the damage that's being done is absolutely amazing. I'm talking. The damage being done to our institutions is amazing, but more amazing is the damage that's being done internationally. He is dismantling everything. What he's dismantling, the United States set up. This is all our shit. Now you got Canada going to China. I don't know. Somebody keeps saying, "Oh, Canada can't survive without us." Bullshit.
I don't know. You know something? I'll just tell you something. I don't know where the mindset came in that the world would not exist without the United States. MAGA does seem to believe that. Without us, ain't nobody do shit. Like, you do realize we only been around for a few hundred years, right? I don't know what that shit,
and they don't realize the biggest trading partner in South America is China. Yeah. They don't realize that China building down EVs in Mexico. They get ready to build EVs in Canada. We're Canada's side of the deal. Man, we are so fucked up internationally. The dude, when he was over at Davos, that shit was embarrassing. He's embarrassing, man.
That's our president. I gotta go, Travelman. That is our president. Respect the commander in chief. Thank you. All right. Appreciate it. And by the way, somebody in the comments says you guys don't know anything about America, do you? Well, I know that the world is connected together. I know that America don't do all this shit by themselves. I don't know what we tend to believe that if America left NATO, all of the NATO member nations would just be attacked and overran, which is insane. I mean, you know, without America, they'd all be speaking Russian or they'd all be speaking Chinese. You know something, to be honest with you, a lot of the conflicts on this planet are not ended by us. They're actually started by us. There's a lot of wars that would not have taken place if it was not for us. I know we tend to believe we are a do-good all type country. There's a lot of countries that would be better off if America was not at the helm. I had somebody ask me that. I had a MAGA person ask me that, and they said, "Be serious. Do you think the world would be safer if the United States was not a superpower?" And I told him, I was like, it depends on who you asking. If America was not a superpower, it might not be beneficial as much to Canada or some of the NATO member nations, but you think any nation in Africa is benefiting from America being a superpower? I mean, you think Somalia is better off that we're a superpower? You think most of the nations south of the border are doing better because we're a superpower? No, we fuck up a lot of people's houses too. We don't make it better we make it better for us and to a lesser degree our friends. Everybody else can eat a dick. So the idea that America being a superpower makes the world better, no, it doesn't. It makes the world worse for a lot of countries. You think Iraq would be better off with America as a superpower or with America not being one? So it really depends on who you asking that question to. But it is self-centered of us to think that really we and only our friends matter. Everybody else don't matter. They're irrelevant. We are in bad shape when the government gaslights and suppresses its citizens. Big Boss, is there a time when that has not happened? Is there a time in history where our government was not gaslighting and suppressing its citizens? That's always happened. Biden needed GPS to find a bathroom, says Bill Beer. The crazy thing is, there are plenty of video footage of President Trump stumbling aimlessly as well. When he went to South Korea, I think when he went to Japan, they had to guide him. He was on the red carpet walking all over the So I'm not denying about Biden, but if you're a Trump supporter, I don't think it makes a lot of sense to point to Biden because Trump is aging and it's starting to happen with him too. In the comments, and tap the screen, get us on up to 140,000. If you favor this type of programming, uncensored, all sides of the aisle, follow us if you're watching us on Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook. If you happen to be watching us on YouTube, give your boy a sub. We're here most weekdays. And also, I'm going to ask that you smash that like button. It helps out the algorithm. Doesn't cost you anything, but it does your boy a solid. Smash that like button. I don't care about Somalia. That's the point. Klein or whatever your name is, that's the point. Outside of our friends, we don't care about those other countries. So those other countries don't benefit one bit from us being a superpower. We're not doing anything for them. We don't care about the continent of Africa. We don't care about the people in Haiti, which is in our hemisphere. There's a lot of countries we don't care about. So those countries, if you ask them, Do you think the planet would be better if America was not a superpower? A lot of them would say yes. You think Cuba is doing better because America's a superpower? You think they would be better off if Russia was a superpower? We're not helping the Cubans out at all. We're actually hurting them. We're actively hurting them. So there's plenty of countries that do not stand up and down and cheer for America being a super. They're not. America's not making the world safer for Cubans or many other countries. There's many countries that are not benefiting one bit from the America being a superpower. The problem with MAGA is their morals are in hell. Damn, Santi. The problem with MAGA is their morals are in hell. They can't defend Trump without being a hypocrite. Yikes. Americans are kind of tired of paying for everything. You're not paying for everything. I'll go to the box. Get us up to 140,000. We're not paying for everything. As I make this point every time that comes up, we are merely paying the cost to be the boss. You want to be a world leader? You want to have bases on every continent? You want your military ships to be allowed to sail every sea without obstruction? Nobody else on the planet is doing that. You want the freedom to be able to fly over everybody's airspace? Nobody else is doing that. You want for us to be able to go in any NATO member country, open up bases, sail the seas with our ships and all of that. But you want them to pay the same amount in NATO as we do. You want on the world stage for America to take the leadership in all the summits and decision making. But somehow everybody, when it comes to forking over cash, to all pay the same amount. No, you want to be a leader? You want to be a boss? You pay a little extra. Paying the cost to be the boss. Now, I made this point earlier when it came to tariffs. If America wants to tariff Canada or some of these other countries and make it, comparable to what other countries are tariff, you want to make it comparable? Okay, then now you're opening them folks up to start shopping around. Yeah, I agree that we were not getting as much money from, you weren't tariffing us as much as maybe we charged you or you were giving us a deal or something like that. That's why we always use you. But now that Trump has come along and decided you're not going to give us a break anymore, well, suddenly China and these other countries are starting to look equal. Once you took away all the benefits, there's no need to just deal with you. Miss Mo better, thank you. There's no reason to just deal with you anymore. You've cut out all of the benefits and all of the legitimate reasons for dealing with you. Now you're no longer, you're just like everybody else. So a lot of countries are going to shop around. It's the same thing with NATO. We superpower. We say that when these countries wouldn't be around if America in its military might was not part of NATO. So you start making all kinds of demands on these smaller countries rather. Well, shit. China said they would defend us for less than what you asking for. I mean, if you're going to charge me the going rate, then you're opening me up to shop around. Russia said they would look out for us without all the drama you're talking about. In fact, they said they'd give us a 10% discount if we let them open up a base. Boom. Now some countries are starting to go all these other fucking places. NATO is suddenly weaker. And by the way, if we have to remove our bases from many countries throughout Europe, we get weaker as well. Speaking of which, Mr. Mobetta, good evening. Chicken wings, I divide and consume. Love me some chicken wings. Boomer sooner. What does that mean? That's because we're so fresh and so clean. No matter who you are on the top, you can come down. Mr. Mobetta, good evening.
Hi, Tim.
I'm doing good. Good to have you on. I'm in the. What am I getting wrong tonight? Because I was told I got lumps on my head. What am I getting wrong tonight?
I'm still laughing at that hickey that you brought. That was funny.
A good hickey belongs on your neck, not on your head. Unless, they say a golf ball through a garden hose. If she can put one on your head, goddamn. Bless her heart.
Yeah.
Hey.
I'm sorry, Tim, but it looked like you got hit with a bowling ball instead of a golf ball.
Oh, my God. We're there.
But not you are like 6'6", so it goes along with the territory.
Yeah.
Thank you. These are my new glasses. Thank you.
Very nice. I like them.
Thank you.
Cutie. I like it. Very nice. So we're talking about nationalizing the election. What do you think?
No. No.
Well,
no. Well, listen, because even under this regime, even if that were to happen, they would come up with something else.
What do you mean?
It'd just be one thing after the other. Okay. All right, we nationalize, we go in there. We already know what redlining and all of that stuff does when it comes to these states. You understand what I'm saying? And we have to go back and see the number of how many red states there are, or how many. And we can't say that fraud won't happen under it being a national election.
You know something, even though I'm not a fan of nationalizing the election, I suppose you could nationalize an election and make it fair but when you say you want the Republicans to control it, is not, you went too far. And he absolutely says that. Thank you, Church 14.
And the thing my thing is, people are hearing what he's saying. He's saying what he wants done. And they still find a way to twist themselves in a fucking pretzel or move the goalposts.
Yeah,
he's telling you what he wants.
Why don't you think that? But MAGA
doesn't know what fascism means.
But MAGA are Constitution-loving patriots. They also believe in states' rights. Why is MAGA not outraged that the president is talking about nationalizing an election?
Because they're not free-thinking people. They only go by what he tells them. They go by whatever he says. They take it and run with it. They don't do any research. They don't call him out if they do any research. They still find a way to say, well, the Democrats this or the Democrats that. They still point the finger at somebody else.
Yeah, the Democrats have never talked about nationalizing an election. And real quick, I mean, because I always have the main, I got News Nation on behind all of this shit. And they just released, apparently TMZ is, you guys heard about Guthrie's mom being kidnapped?
Yes.
Apparently TMZ is saying there is a ransom note. So they want Bitcoin. 84-year-old woman, they don't kidnap her and they're demanding ransom for an Wow.
That right there is bigger than John Coffey. I'm just saying.
I mean,
that's bigger than John Coffey.
They're going to either lose their life in the process of doing this, or they're going to have a really bad time in prison. Kidnapping an 84-year-old woman?
Yeah, that's crazy. And whoever did it, they know them. You know what I'm saying? It's somebody that they broke bread with. This not just some random person. You understand?
Well, she is a television. She's a television. Her daughter's a television personality, so they know they got money.
But what I was going to say, if they ask for Bitcoin, isn't that stuff supposed to be untraceable? How do they know if they're even involved in that? That's somebody who they broke bread with, who they know.
You don't have to have Bitcoin for somebody to tell you to pay them in Bitcoin. You can go.
Well, you said they asked. That's what they asked for.
Yeah, but that don't mean that just because they're asking for. If I do something to you and tell you to pay me in Bitcoin, that don't mean you have to have Bitcoin. You can go out and get it.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. But I mean, to get Bitcoin like that is not just easily exchanged. You understand what I'm saying? All right, I'm going to put XYZ. I'll take $30,000 and put it in Bitcoin or whatever.
Yeah. See, I don't know.
That doesn't necessarily you're going to even get that amount back. That's just like the stock market. All of that stuff goes up and down all the time. So again, to me, it's somebody that knows them, knows what their inner workings are, and this is what they want.
Yeah. I don't know a lot about crypto, but I did see an article once where this old lady was in some type of business, and she kept feeding money into a machine. And finally, the cashier went and talked to her, like, what are you doing? You know, and it turns out she was being scammed, and somebody was telling her to pay in Bitcoin to get her relative out of jail or something like that. But she didn't have any Bitcoin, and she was buying it to pay them off with it. So you don't need it to get it.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So
that's exactly why a lot of people do frown away from stuff like that, because you can't trace it. And then once somebody withdraws it, you know what I'm saying? It's like, okay,
well,
where's my money? Hey, ain't nothing we could do about that. We have nobody. Who you gonna call and say somebody stole my Bitcoin? Or you gonna call your bank? The banks don't help with that.
President Trump has a lot of money, a lot of business being done.
Listen, we are. Listen, Trump got a lot of shit going on. He got too much going on for himself. Lord,
so tell me, what do you expect if President Trump is able to successfully nationalize the election and run it with Republicans? What are you expecting?
It will be the end of our democracy. There won't be another election. He's gonna fix it to where I am the end all tell all. That's it. That's what it's gonna be. He does not want to leave the White House.
He's 80.
He does not want to leave.
He's 80 years old, Ms.
What the fuck does that mean? You tell him that.
So you
tell, in his eyes, he took cognitive tests and all kind of shit. Said I got the best scores out of anybody that has ever. Biden has never took a cognitive test, and I scored. Come on, he said he don't want to leave there. He don't want to give up the power.
I gotta say, I can only imagine how much shit he talks in the bedroom. That man, I got the biggest. That was the best orgasm you ever had, right? I mean, I don't know, but
thank you, Mike.
But I guess. But do you think that is his goal though, to steal an election?
Absolutely is. He's trying it now. He's trying to fuck those midterms up. And if anybody denies that, you're just a lie and the truth ain't in you.
I'm being told it's the Democrats that steal elections. He's just trying to make it free and fair.
And MAGA must be the one telling you that bullshit too. Because if there was so much fraud on the Democrats' behalf, why are the Democrats not have the whole House, Senate, the Congress, the presidency? Why, if the Democrats were treating so fucking much, why are we not holding power on anything right now? Make it make sense.
That's a good point. Answer for that. They're still in elections, but the Republicans are in power. I don't have an answer for that.
Tim, I'm telling you, the fuckery writes itself. It writes itself. You just got to start looking at the people who's reading this shit.
Then if you can see it that clear, why does MAGA see it so differently than you?
Because that's what happens when you're in a cult. When you're being led, when you allow somebody to lead you like that, because that's what he is a leader to them, and just to them, not to anybody else. He's not our leader. He's not anybody else's leader, but theirs. They hijacked. He's hijacking the Constitution. They hijacked the flag. They hijack everything. You understand what I'm saying? And anything that's not spoken in favor of him or anything like that, they call us, oh, you hate America, you hate this person, you hate that person, oh, go somewhere else. No, we'd rather him leave and we stay.
I can't tell you how many times I hear folks.
We was doing good.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I hear folks on the right say people hate America. They say that a lot. In the comments, one of the viewers says Donald Trump would change the freaking flag of the USA. He would change the color to orange, have it 50 shades of orange, with Trump on one side, MAGA on the other, and his followers would say it's awesome.
That's a fact. It's the best flag that you've ever seen.
Oh
look, now they shut down the Kennedy Center now. Talk about for renovations. First of all, you got renovations going on in the White House. You got all of this stuff going on. You starting all of these projects. Because his goal, and in my opinion, is to bankrupt our ass.
Why?
He's so angry. He was so angry by what happened before when he left office and all of that stuff, and it didn't go over well. He said, "I'm gonna fix y'all asses.
Well,
I'm gonna make myself rich. I don't give a fuck about nobody else. I got people here supporting me, and I don't need nothing else. And I'm gonna make sure y'all bankrupt."
I'm being told that under President Trump, his tariffs are going to bring in $5 trillion. Trillion.
Yeah, after we spend $5 trillion trying to get the shit right. How broke we gotta go to get this $5 trillion?
I'm just telling you what I'm hearing. I see somebody in the comments.
I know. Just ask him. He knows. He's the best. He's the greatest. He's the one. Don't nobody do it like him.
No.
I'm just saying.
I mean, the man.
That's that little man syndrome. When you got to go around inflating everything about yourself, when you don't even give anybody else a chance to give you any kind of accolades, that's the little man syndrome.
I mean, listen.
And I ain't talking about his hands either.
You sound like Stormy Daniels. I don't know about the guy being little or not, but I will say, look, the guy likes to leave his mark. I mean, he was doing it as a businessman. He had the Trump name was everywhere. So now that he's president,
yeah, I know. Who bankrupts a fucking casino?
I suppose it can happen.
Money is almost infinite in casinos.
I mean, I suppose it can happen if you're too greedy.
Yeah,
if you fuck it up, if you're too greedy.
That's what we dealing with, a greedy con man. A greedy ass con man. And businessmen, like I said, they are only there to businessmen about self first. I'm gonna come up with a good pitch to make sure I butter your ass up to get you where I need to I can't even say that. To get what I need out of your ass.
But I got folks, but Miss Mobetta,
businessmen do.
But Miss Mobetta, how do you respond to the fact that MAGA will point to the, gas prices have come down significantly? They believe the economy, even groceries, they believe are doing much better. So how do you explain that?
They still believe he won the 2020 election. The numbers don't lie, Tim. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. So they can keep saying all that bullshit if they want to. And while he keep picking our damn pockets. Talking about doggone tariffs was going to do this, tariffs going to do that. Come on, knock it off. First of all, we're not real big exporters on anything. So the only thing that's making us a superpower is the military. Right now, our military could be home. They could be home right now.
What about the notion that he is?
That's why all of those other countries, Canada and China, they build their forces around our ass. It's no physical threat. They're going to go out of us where it really hurts. And that's in the pocket. So we got to stop.
How about this? Do you give him credit for securing this nation? The border is secure. Crime is coming down. How about that? Is he not doing the right thing?
Nope. Not when you have citizens being unalived in your own streets. That means something's fucked up somewhere. No.
I mean,
you cannot get credit for that.
But Ms. Mobetta, the homicide rate in major American cities is coming down significantly. I mean, you're not giving
by the hands of civilians, and it's going up under ICE. So come on, where we going with this?
Wait, Ms. Mobetta, ICE is only off 2 people. I mean, I get it's been a couple of people. I mean, one of them was.
Those are the only 2 that we know about. Listen, they got cases against ICE that has been going on since Trump was in office the first time. So let's not be fooled by that here. Do you know there were migrants that were actually awarded millions of dollars right here in New York because of what ICE was doing?
Yeah, but ICE.
We can't be fooled by just those things that we've seen on a national level.
Yeah, but what ICE? Yeah, but what ICE? You got one dude that is kicking cars and bringing a gun to a protest, and you got another girl that don't know how to drive. So, I mean, there's only been 2 people.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, she had a lead foot. She had a lead foot.
You and MAGA can have that bullshit. You can go right ahead and have that bullshit. I see past the fuckery. See, when you speak of transparency, I know what transparency means. That means I can see right through your ass. When it comes to transparency with MAGA, guess what the color is? Orange. Once they see that orange, it stops.
Securing the border, you don't see any benefit to that at all. I mean, I get ICE is a little heavy-handed.
No, because listen, I can come up with a whole list of shit that happened at the hands of American born and bred and fed Americans that has been a lot worse than what ICE has been, the immigrants has been doing over here. So I don't buy into that, Tim. But they make it hard for people to go. They're going into people court cases and arresting them there. So they talk about come and do it the right way and all that shit is just some bloviating propaganda they got going on.
But Trump states in places like DC that has traditionally have had a really bad crime rate, high murder rate and everything, it's safe to walk down the street and take your date to dinner. You can literally walk down the street. It's that safe now. Safe as in years.
Because they got all kind of construction going on over here. What the fuck they gonna do in DC? they got scaffolding all over the goddamn place, fences and shit put up. It wasn't that high down there. You know, he lies about everything that comes out of his mouth, and that's the sad part. The real sad part is he can tell the truth about something. We still ain't gonna believe him because he lies so fucking much.
I'm just simply saying that the man says it's safe. And real quick in the comments, Joe says literally all of Tim's callers are his friends and people he knows, and they have scripts. You guys need to. I get new callers every day.
Tell him they're slow as fuck too. We've been on here. That's because we've been on here for a couple of years with him.
Yeah.
You know, and after a while, you do build some type of relationship, whether it's cyber, outside of the internet or whatever. But if you don't like what you're hearing, you have free will to go somewhere else.
Yeah, I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose viewers, but you're right. I mean, you're right. You're right.
I get it. But they can't be thin-skinned and come over here and then again expect to hear everything that goes along with their narrative either.
Yeah, we
because
don't.
I give it to you. You do both sides.
Yeah, I'll make it clear. Yeah, we don't run from callers. It don't matter what your politics are. If you want to come on here and correct me or present a point, we don't limit your time or any of that. You can be far right, far left, whatever.
Out too. We be calling him fluffy and all kinds of shit.
Yeah,
see, we don't always agree.
Yeah, you may see that.
You think we're friends?
Yeah, I think
there's some shit that we be fluffing his ass off.
Yeah,
and we just call him out on it and keep it moving.
Yeah, because grandma is on deck, so I can show you better than I can tell you.
She can't wait to get up and get your ass.
All right, well, speaking of which, let me go ahead and.
I'm being nice.
Okay.
I'm being nice to you because I know she gonna come on and let your ass have it.
Well, I do appreciate that, and I gotta go, but I'm about to go ahead and dive into that now. So, Miss Mobetta.
Yes, indeed. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you. Bless me, because I'm about to dive in. All right, moving on with the program. By the way, tap the screen. What does that say? Gen X says this shit for confirmation bias aspect of this platform. I don't know quite what you're saying about that. Billy Wap says, Tim is the OG in fluffing. We don't fluff here, folks. We don't fluff here. Hey there, Tim. I think you do a great job, as I said before. The problem is that you believe the best in people. So it's hard for you to believe some of the stuff that people will do. We don't have a phone number there. I can't pronounce the name. We're on Instagram and we're on TikTok. Handsome Liberal on both platforms. I actually created another account. I can't think of the name of the social media service, but we're in fact the Handsome Liberal Clapper, Rumble. We are on X, the Handsome Liberal on X. Thank you there, Blue One Banks. The Handsome Liberal on X, the Handsome Liberal on Truth Social, Rumble, Clapper, Instagram, YouTube, same name across all those platforms. There's another one I want to, there's another one, and I need to know this because I want you guys to go and follow me because I need a few viewers where we can start taking lives. So if it's another platform, you will also be able to come up live. But damn, I cannot think of the name of that platform. I'm trying to see if I can look through the notes real quick here because I want to certainly tell you that, but unfortunately I don't see it. But yeah, it's another platform out there that allows you to take live callers, and I did create an account on it, but it requires a few followers. Not Blue Sky or Epic Studios. It's another one, and I don't know the minute you say it, but I don't see it in my notes here. But yeah, we actually are live on Facebook right now. We are live on Facebook. Not Twitch. We have Substack. That's what it's called. Somebody said Substance, but yeah, Substack. If you got Substack, follow the Handsome Liberal on Substack. I created a Substack account, And it does allow you to go live after you get a certain number of followers. The Handsome Liberal on Substack. I invite you to go there and give me a quick follow. And thank you, Deborah Richards. I've posted a few shorts on it just so people know it's me. You know, shorts, the same ones you see on TikTok, relevant to what's going on today. So if you got Substack, follow the Handsome Liberal, because we're going to start going live there immediately. The minute it allows me to go live, we're going to go there. Anyway, thank you, Rucker. I don't see the rest of that. GU2B, I think it says. MAGA today, MAGA tomorrow, MAGA forever. I'm going to ask you folks, for you history folks, what does that sound like? That phrase, MAGA today, MAGA tomorrow, MAGA forever. Have you heard something that sounds like that before? I'll leave it up to you folks. I'll just tell you, last name Connor. Let me go back to the box. MAGA today, MAGA tomorrow, MAGA forever. Have you heard that phrase used before? Is it Wallace? Not Connor? Wallace. Okay. All right. We'll bring up Gangsta Grandma, if you will. And apparently it didn't bring her up. What happened, Gangsta Grandma? Looking in the comments, listen, how is all this shit making America great when a wealthy person is winning and the country is poor and losing? Also, in trying to start a race war and convincing these people to believe this. Well, a lot of folks believe they're doing better under Trump. I mean, I'm just telling you, a lot of everyday average working folks believe that they're doing financially better. I used an example earlier. You've heard people talk about I got a hickey on my head, but I've used an example where your mom kisses a boo-boo and you just feel better because your mom kissed it. I think that under President Trump, at least for my beloved MAGA, just his existence in the White House feels better. Even if the economy is exactly the same as it, let's say Trump got in there and a year later the economy did not move at all. It's the same economy. Grocery prices are the same. Let's say gas prices were the same. I think MAGA would still feel a sense of relief simply because it's Trump in the White House and not Biden. So I don't think Trump has to make significant improvements to satisfy MAGA. The improvement was winning the Oval Office. What he actually does, you know, is negotiable. If it's good, great, but you don't really have to. Just beating Biden and the liberals was all we really needed. I really believe that. He don't actually have to do a lot, which is why he promised to do stuff like strengthen the economy and, you know, have an America first mindset. And he's got in there and it's been all international shit, you know, Venezuela and Iran and Nigeria and Yemen. I mean, he's all over the place. But the plan was, you know, the campaign was America first. He has not done that. So I don't think it's really a matter of what he does. It's the matter that he, you know, he was victorious. He got in there, got rid of Biden, got rid of a bunch of liberals, and that was good enough. So Bobby Covino says, I am really disappointed in Trump. I've had a few viewers, Jeremy, who voted for Trump. He's not happy with him. I'm starting to get a few, but for the most part, MAGA seems to be fairly happy with the performance of Trump. But like I said, I don't think the celebration from MAGA in regards to Trump is necessarily because of the benefits of their life. I think it's because of the creation of liberal tiers. I think pissing off the Democrats, beating Democrats, you know, Don Lemon got arrested the other day, stuff like that. I think stuff like that for MAGA is just as good as reducing the price of groceries and stuff. I think they're celebrating that stuff as wins, even though it doesn't really affect their lives at all. Just punishing liberals. You can feed them a healthy diet of liberal tiers, and that's good enough. MAGA is a cult, so truly their opinions aren't valid. They're brainwashed. Alex, well, look, their opinions matter on election day, so I wouldn't say their opinions are invalid. Don Lemon getting arrested, smiley face, and you're giving a thumbs up to that. Yeah, so I'm saying that doesn't affect MAGA one bit. And I'll tell you something, I don't believe Don Lemon's case is going to go anywhere. Just like folks were very happy when Letitia James and Jim Comey got arrested. Those cases aren't going anywhere. It's just it's just the happiness of seeing liberals go down. Okay. It's not making groceries cheaper. It's not making anything different in your life. It's just celebrating liberals being same thing with what's going on in Minnesota. That stuff ain't really affecting the average Trump supporter. Stuff ain't affecting them at all. It ain't like there's a bunch of killers in Minnesota. If they don't get deported, they're coming to Houston. No, it's just you glad to see a bunch of liberals, pissed off and getting overran. Thank you, Lewis. That's all it really amounts to. But it is what it is. Let's try it with the next caller. There are those of us that can off the farm, and then there's those of us that went into the house, and the ones that still live in the house serve the Democrats like their master. Don't know what any of that means. Lewis, good evening.
Hey, how you doing, Tim?
I'm doing good.
Hey, Tim, one thing we have to remember.
Sure.
One thing we have to remember. When we start putting in anything that makes it harder to vote, that's where the problem comes. We should be trying to come up with ways to make it easier to vote, especially if you're on the left. Because what you have to remember is that there are way more Democratic voters than registered voters about 7 million more than there are Republican voters. But the majority that breaks the split is the independents. Because there's only about 42 to 45% of Republicans and something like 52% of Democrats and that are registered voters, and then it's 39% of independents.
Well,
that's what the split is.
Well, the thing is, Democrats are not as reliable to show up to the damn polls. That's the difference, though.
That's because we got jobs, Tim.
The Republicans say otherwise. The Republicans say they're the ones with all the jobs.
Well, they got jobs, but they got jobs who bosses let them off.
Oh. Well, I want the Democrats' boss let them off. In fact, in my opinion, I think they should make election day. They should make election day a federal holiday.
Tim, do you think your boss really wants you to have a voice?
It's a good point.
I'm not talking about your.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. That's a good point.
I'm not talking about your immediate supervisor. I'm talking about your boss.
I get what you're saying. You're saying the elite members of society don't want the average voting public to have a voice. I get what you're saying.
I mean, you got to figure only in this whole country, only about what they say 60 to 70% of the people who are registered to vote, period. That's on all sides, actually vote. We have the lowest voting ratio of all first world countries on this planet. Even the ones where they cheat like Russia, they get a better turnout than we do.
When I lived in Australia, they have compulsory voting. You have to vote. You have to. Now, you don't have, if you don't like either candidate, you don't have to vote for one of them, but you have to. It's just like the selective service. You got to answer it. So when it's time to vote, you got to check at least here on the ballot. You got to just respond to it. Even if you don't want to vote for anybody, you do have to respond on election day.
Tim, I'm telling you something. We already have ID voting. You can't register to vote without proving who you are. So once you become a registered voter, you've already proved who you are. You know what I'm saying? Now, who shows up? It doesn't matter who shows up. If let me finish for a minute.
Explain that.
If I can legally vote, and someone else goes and vote in my place, there's still only one vote cast by a registered voter.
Yeah, but if you can legally vote and you're sick or dead, and somebody goes and votes in your, somebody really, what do they call it? ID theft or something. Somebody may show up and vote for you before you get there.
Yeah, absolutely. And then when you get there, they're gonna say it's already.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of all that.
And I know I don't agree with it either. I'm just saying we have ways of actually doing that. Yeah. Because people are in Pennsylvania, you have to register to vote when you get a driver's license. You choose whether you register to vote there.
Right.
And once you show up at your polling, you have to go to your polling place. You can't just vote anywhere in the state of Pennsylvania.
Okay.
You have to go to your place. And those people there check your name in the book. And if they know you, which most of them know me in my community, they don't ask me for an ID. So, but because they know me. And then when you walk up and if they don't know you, they ask you for your ID.
I would also, another way to combat fraud is just to simply, when you vote, they should actually take, your finger, put your finger, I know, I guess you put your hand on some ink or whatever, but put your fingerprint on the ballot.
Right.
So that way you know who cast that. If that person was fraudulent, you may be able to find them now. So I think that would also limit folks from trying to vote fraud.
Tim, there is so many ways, but I can tell you this right now. I know ain't no illegal immigrants walking up to no polling place talking about voting.
I don't believe that either. That's crazy for you to be here illegally, knowing that you're trying to stay, prevent from getting caught, and you gonna go in there and do some shit like that. That's stupid. I don't believe that happens that much either. That's the when I was in Australia and I was trying to stay, the last thing I would have ever thought is to go and risk it all by doing something like that. It's to vote in one of the elections. I don't believe that at all. I don't believe there's many illegal immigrants voting at all.
That is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
And like I said, we come up with so many ways to actually make things harder for Americans to vote. And that's where our problem. But I get their strategy behind it because they know that there are more lefties than there are righties. And that's why they don't want to make it as hard as possible for the left to vote. It makes sense.
Well, higher voter turnout does work better for Democrats, and lower voter turnout works better for Republicans. So yeah, they generally do things to try to limit the amount of people that are voting. That's true.
And that's just a fact. And there ain't no other reason for it but that. You know why? I forget the guy's name. Conservative. How original, man. Why would he steal your thunder, man? Talking about conservative, handsome conservative. I mean,
since I created that, in addition to constantly being told I'm not handsome to fucking begin with, I've had a lot of folks create handsome names, handsome this or handsome that, handsome MAGA. I've seen a lot of it's common, man. I've seen it.
I know it's just so funny when I see it. I'm like, now that is flattery is, I mean, I don't know. It's just, I don't know why they would do that. I just wouldn't do that. You should have got it patent, bro. That's all I got to say.
Well, something I actually tried, just being, off topic. I actually did talk to an attorney, and he told me, if you've been using that, he said, essentially, it is already, because I went trying to find out about having it a registered trademark or whatever, and he told me that by default, he said, if you consider how long I've done it, if you Google if you go on Google, my name is literally everywhere. He said, by default, you're kind of already there. He said, I forgot how he gave it to me in legalese, but he made it sound like unless you're really trying to protect a fortune, he's like, you kind of already got it now. So.
Well, definitely, especially, like on Facebook, since you're on Facebook now, once they prove that it's you, you get what they call a blue heart. If you see that blue heart next to that person's name, you know that is the official.
Yeah, I have verified account on X. I'm verified. I'm verified. I think on one of my Facebook, I think I am verified on a few of those accounts. I've done that, but
I know you're on Facebook. I follow you on Facebook too. I just don't go on.
Okay.
Man, I got too many crazy ass relatives to go on Facebook, man. Facebook is just, if I see another one of my nieces or 50-year-old women with their faces looking like they 18, it's just going.
Social media is like
those
that,
screenshots, man. I'm just
that's social media. I mean, you're gonna see some shit.
I know it is. And that's what I say to everybody. You just can't believe what you see on this social media. You just can't assume that that's facts. You have to investigate, and you just have to go with
especially with AI.
What you're doing, what?
I said, especially with AI now,
you
can't trust anything you see anymore.
Man, let me tell you something. I seen a cat dancing better than Snoop Dogg the day online. You know what I'm saying? Snoop Dogg dance better than.
Somebody tell you something for somebody like myself that occasionally, not much, but occasionally might watch an adult film, Ain't nothing like watching yourself fuck your favorite porn star. I mean, it's amazing what they can do now. It's like, wow.
Exactly.
I can actually say I hit
Tim, I
that.
ain't never thought, Tim, I do occasionally too, but I ain't never thought about doing that. You know what I'm saying?
It's coming. It's coming. I mean, did you ever see? Have you ever seen the movie Demolition Man with Stallone and Wesley Snipes? It's a '90s movie. It's called
Absolutely.
Sandra Bullock.
Absolutely.
They put the helmets on and they engage.
Absolutely.
Well, think about it. If you could put on a helmet and watch you enjoying your you gonna tell me that wouldn't make you feel some kind of way? I can make it so that you are involved with anybody you want to on Earth.
You know what I'd be scared of, Tim?
What?
Tim, you know what I'd be scared of? Is that shit gonna get out there?
What do you mean? Oh, the video?
Yes.
You don't. Why would you be? Why would you be afraid of a video and you and your favorite celebrity getting out there? If I want you and your favorite celebrity video to get out there, I'll just make it myself.
I don't have that much confidence, though. That's what I'm saying. I don't have that much confidence to have other people watch me like that. I mean, I'm well endowed and all that good stuff. I ain't trying to live.
No, but the point I'm making is if I wanted to embarrass you or blackmail you or something like that, I could make a video of you banging a male lady or your neighbor. I could make it and then give it to your woman.
I can honestly say I didn't do that and know in my heart that it's not true. I didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing.
You got honest people serving the rest of their life in jail, Lewis, for saying they truly said in their heart to the judge, I didn't do that, and the jury, and they didn't give a fuck. I mean, you could say it if it not go anywhere.
I worked in the largest prison in Pennsylvania, and I'm gonna tell you something. Everybody in that bad boy was innocent. You hear what I'm saying?
That sounds like a line from Shawshank.
Every one of them say they innocent. I never had an inmate tell me he was innocent.
But you do realize some of them really are innocent, though, right?
No, not by the time you get to a state prison. You ain't innocent because you might not be guilty on what you're in there for, but you ain't innocent. You hear what I'm saying?
I mean, that's like, well, because that's like a George Floyd type, where you got a lengthy criminal history and you got prison on your rap sheet. So that means the cops can fuck with you and pin other shit on you because people gonna believe it.
And that's what this is where I have a problem at. We have an 18% minority rate in the state of Pennsylvania. I worked at Camp Hill, and everybody tell you in Pennsylvania that is the main state prison. Everybody goes through there and comes back through there when they leave to go out of the other 22 prisons in Pennsylvania. And every one of 18%, over 80% of the prison population is minorities.
Damn.
80%, Tim.
How does that happen in your opinion?
Because it's an injustice in the judicial system, not so much in the arrest. Because if niggas guilty, niggas guilty. You know what I'm saying? If niggas are breaking the law, they should be arrested. But the difference is that a white T person will get charged with something and they end up with probation because they usually get private lawyers or they get they just cut them slacks. You know what I'm saying? They cut them breaks, and then a brother get 2 to 5. You know what I'm saying? Because it takes at least 2 years to go to the state prison. So a brother gets 2 to 5, he going to state prison.
Wow.
The white guy stays at the county level and never makes it up to the state prison because he may get 6 months, he may get 14 months. As long as he don't have over 2 years, he stays at the local level in the county jail.
How do you respond to folks who suggest that stuff ended years ago? They ain't still doing that in America. Ain't nothing holding black people back.
But those are those same people that don't realize there are 64 sundown towns in America too, and they probably don't believe that either.
No, they don't.
They don't believe it. That are known sundown towns. We have 6 in Pennsylvania right here where I'm at. I know where every one of them is. And at night, you go through there, and you're a brown or black person, they will find a reason to pull you over. Doesn't mean it's always going to end bad, but they're going to definitely harass you. You know what I'm saying?
You know something? It would just seem like in this day and age, when there is plenty of money and a decent amount of wealth in the black community, if there's sundown towns, why not send a black reporter and crew or have somebody hide out and prove it? I mean, there's enough.
Have done that. They have done that. They have done that. They have done that. I mean, I'll tell you about one that's really big. You probably will remember this. Remember Forsyth County in Georgia, where it was a town where they didn't want no blacks there at all?
The names, it sounds familiar. It sounds familiar.
Absolutely. That's the most famous sundown town of all, because they don't even want you in there in the daytime, so they definitely don't want you there at night. But it's been that, and it's still that. And
yeah, but if you can send in a crew of African Americans or minorities, whoever they pulling over, and you can prove they fucking with you, they start getting hit with lawsuits. Wouldn't that force them to change?
No, let me tell you why, Tim. I'll tell you why. Because a cop can always find a reason to pull you over. So I'm not saying they're not legit pullovers. You follow what I'm saying?
What if you just walking down the what if you just walking down the street in that area? Would they fuck with you?
Then you're a fool.
If you it's got
They probably wouldn't even mess with you. They probably in these towns, Tim, they probably know you crazy if you walking down the street and you're a brown person. They know you crazy because every town has a crazy nigga that don't nobody mess with. You know what I'm saying? So you know what I'm saying?
I'm just saying that there is enough education, wealth, and a little bit of power in the black community enough that you get a law firm, you get a few people together with cameras that you could, you guys hide out and film them from a distance, use a drone or whatever. If the cops are really fucking with them, catch a few of them on camera doing the wrong thing, saying the wrong thing, or what. After they start getting hit with a few lawsuits, they'll back off on it. Some of these little towns, they can't afford to pay that shit to begin with. They start getting hit with lawsuits, they'll back off on it.
Let me hit you with this right. I agree with you. They have, and I think I've actually seen that on 60 Minutes where they did go through some of those towns and they did pull people over after a certain time of night if they were brown or black people. It's been proven that it happens. But let me say this to you, Tim. What people have to remember is that Indianapolis is a town that's over 70% white people.
Indianapolis, Indiana, okay.
18% black. And then only like something like 4 or 5% Hispanic, and then others. There's some others in there too somewhere. That's a very low number. That's why black people used to cops being in their neighborhoods, running through their neighborhoods, coming up in their hoods, riding through all the time, harassing the kids, harassing people. Black people are used to that. Now, those white people, those 72% of white people in Minneapolis, they ain't used to that shit. That's why they pissed off.
Yeah.
Because they not used to it. Black people, you grew up in Chicago, you probably can't turn a corner and don't see a cop in Chicago in a black neighborhood.
That's true.
But you go on the outskirts where Oprah live at, you don't see no cops. You know what I'm saying?
That is true too. Yeah.
And
but I mean, but I don't even think it's just that. I think in Minneapolis, because people always, Trump did send ICE agents to Minnesota, and he sent them to New Orleans and shit like that. He sent law enforcement to Memphis. He sent law enforcement to Louisiana. He sent goons to Minnesota. So it's predictable that shit's not going to go well.
He sent ICE agents to those towns. Those guys are used to dealing in an urban environment. These guys that are in Minneapolis are border control guys.
Yeah, but then but then not only that, but then when problems start breaking out, you got JD Vance telling them on the internet, don't forget you got immunity. I mean, like, you pretty much begging them to act out. I mean, why would you in the middle of this shit take to the social media and tell them, don't forget you got immunity while you're there? Like, what the fuck? I mean, I'm surprised more of them ain't got shot.
And we got your back no matter what you look at. But eventually the people will rise up, and it's going to be a mess. It's going to be a mess, and that's what he's hoping for. That's why I'm glad there's not a lot of us out there showing our butts, because he's waiting for us to come out there, Tim.
Yeah.
He's waiting for black people to come out and act a fool.
But like you said, the African American community is already kind of used to that shit, which is why they staying out of the way.
That's right.
The white community, like, not us. Oh no! So they ain't used to it.
Hey Tim, I'm gonna tell you something. A few years back, it was during George Floyd. Anyway, my son asked me to meet him downtown because we was gonna go to a Black Lives Matter rally downtown, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's been years since I've even participated in any of that kind of stuff. So I went with them though. And I'm gonna tell you something. Those white folks were spitting on the cops, throwing bottles at them, and just acting a fool. Had me scared. Because black folks know not to do that, Tim. You know what I'm saying? We know not to go up to no cop and walk into his face and spit on him. We know what's going to happen. Where white people just do that shit. They be serious, man. They go off.
That's what was happening during the protest that Cal Rittenhouse was at. The white folks are the ones trying to kill him too. I mean, he walking around with an AR on him, and white folks are like, "Fuck that, we gonna disarm your ass." Like, I mean, white folks know, it's crazy because they suggest that BLM and black folks are the ones that riot. Like, no, white people know how to throw a real good riot when they want to.
They seen that he was a punk. They just didn't think he would shoot him. You know what I'm saying? They were gonna try to take his gun.
Yeah,
they were trying to take his gun. You know.
Yeah, you gonna try to disarm a dude walking around with an AR? Are you fucking crazy? With a skateboard?
And he was just scared enough to shoot him. He was just scared enough to shoot him. He looked scared as hell when that happened. You know what I'm saying?
He was. Yeah, people paying Cal Rittenhouse to be a hero. I'm like that. No, he was just a lucky motherfucker because Bicep guy, the guy who had a pistol in his hand, if that guy had just decided to pop Cal Rittenhouse from a distance, he would have been able to take him out. Cal Rittenhouse was on the ground already. That guy was not actually trying to shoot Cal Rittenhouse. If he wanted to, he would have been able to shoot him.
Yeah, he could have shot him.
He just got lucky.
But we have. I'm telling you something. I'm getting used to Mega. I'm getting used to listening to his crazy stuff. He's not salvageable, just so you know. I don't hope you ain't trying to salvage him or nothing. He's not salvageable because he's gonna die on that hill with Trump. You know, he's gonna die on that hill with Trump.
You talking about MAGA reacts?
Straight same way. Yeah, MAGA reacts. Yeah, he's gonna die on that hill. I mean, he's gonna die on that hill. I mean, every now and then he sounds like he's trying to whistle out or something because you do entrap him sometimes in his own logic. But he still finds a way out of that paper bag, man. He finds, because your bag is weak, Tim. Your bags are weak. You need to get you some stronger. You got them kind of plastic bags they give you at that cheap Audi store. You know what I'm saying? You
want the California bags they give you at Walmart where they charge you 10 cents each bag, huh?
They charge you 10 cents for them bag. They strong though. You can use.
They are still. They're recyclable. I'll see what I can do. I gotta move it on, but I'll see if I can find some more heavy. What was it called? Heavy scent sack. Those forget what those bags used to be called.
Hefty.
Yeah, there you go. I'll see if I can find some of those. Appreciate you coming through, Lewis. Thank you.
All right, Tim.
All right, good talk. By the way, folks, thank you guys for the 175,000. Helps out the program, helps out the algorithm. For you folks that are watching on YouTube, feel free to tap that like button. And certainly if you enjoy this type of dialogue, uncensored from all sides of the aisle, follow the program if you're watching on Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok. Give your boy a sub on YouTube. Unfortunately, I got to step away. I do want to ask, though, if you got Substack, I need you to follow me because that's where I'm going to go live next. Substack allows me to take live callers. There's still a lot of people that don't want to fuck with TikTok. I want to give them another avenue. Go to Substack. Follow your boy, the Handsome Liberal. Hopefully tomorrow or later this week, we can start taking lives on Substack. Nevertheless, it's an app, Chris. It's another social media platform, just like TikTok, just like we're on Rumble, we're on X, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on many social media platforms. The same name, the Handsome Liberal, across all of those platforms. But we can take actual callers on Substack. So if you have Substack, I'm going to ask that you follow your boy. Nevertheless, I got to step away. It's your boy, Tim, the Handsome Liberal. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you tomorrow. See ya.